I've had people actually say to me, man, you wasting your time trying to save them little niggas. And you know what I say to them? Man, you wasting your time talking to me. It's my duty to help my young brothers get over the wall.
You plotting like hell every time we try to prevail. Now you scared cause people waking up out of the spell. They tell a black man forget what was done to him. They say that just to hide the fact that what was done to blacks was done upon them. See, we've been picked to be the victims, so begging the system to treat us equal with them is a contradiction. Go and listen to John Ehrlichman, who worked for Nixon, said the war on drugs was meant to lock blacks up and restrict. Listen up, what? I'ma tell you what they won't tell you. Slap you with the raw truth even if it scare you. Come on, we gotta soldier up and go through the heat. How can you wake up? You don't even know that you sleep. Listen up.
The purpose of the Blackmail Summit is to address the most unaddressed issue in America, and that is, what do we do with the young black male?
Everybody in this room is a man or a woman of color. And historically, we haven't been taught that the world is ours. We have been taught to be subservient in somebody else's world. And so then what has happened generationally, we have passed down this thought that we have to get permission from somebody else. So the reason why I wanted to name this particular workshop Be You is because I want to challenge you to be you.
People ask the question, what motivated you to start the Blackmail Summit? Well, one of the great motivators was the fact that as a community activist, I always found myself on the defense, which means you receive a phone call from a single mom saying that my son has gotten into trouble with the law. Can you come down and support him in court? Well, after so many of those phone calls, you begin to get tired because you're always constantly on the defensive.
So as a mother of a son and being a single mom, I think supporting Black events such as this one is important because the one thing I can't do is teach my son to be a man.
I asked myself the question, how do great teams win championships? You don't win championships by being on the defensive. You have to get on the offensive. And as it relates to black males, the way to be on the offensive is you teach him before he has that encounter with law enforcement so that you never have to go and support him in court in the first place. Why? Because he knows how to handle himself and prevent himself from being put in that particular position.
Hello, my name is Andre Jones, and today I learned a lot about business opportunities and owning like how to own businesses and stuff. I learned a whole lot of information from a lot of people that gave me a lot of things to look back on in my life and about to use it.
The rich man says, okay, I need somebody to buy this product. I need somebody to work behind the counter at Burger King. I need somebody to stock the shelves at Walmart. Ain't nothing wrong with an honest man's living.
Right.
Nothing. I've done every single one of those jobs. Worked at McDonald's, worked at Denny's, worked at Grandy's, if y'all remember that. When I was at TSU, I worked at Randall's. The reality though is that mentality is something that they put into us. It's created to make us think that's all the world got for us. And then they distract us along the way with other people's business, including their own.
What the Blackmail Summit does is give us a snapshot. It gives us a picture of many of the things that the black male needs that he's been denied in society. Mentorship, proper education. And when I say proper education, I mean an education that speaks to his nature, not an education that presents to him a curriculum where he cannot see himself.
All right, so what I learned at the Black Male Summit is that it's important for Black people as a community to come together and stand as one instead of being divided. Now is the time for us to come together to teach each other, to learn from our ancestors' mistakes and lessons that they've been trying to pass on to us. Now is the time for us to do that. The world is not getting any better with what's going on. It's getting worse, and we need to put an end to it now. Now is the time for us to rise up as a Black community and show them what we are, and what we have to offer. I really enjoy this because it empowers me to do better and teach me about stuff that I never ever would have learned.
Anytime you have a young Black male and all he has been taught is white history and not his own, you have a problem. And so we wonder why our young boys have an issue paying attention in class. First of all, let's just be real. Black people have a glorious future in this country. In the same way Joseph ended up becoming a ruler in the land where he was once a slave, that is the destiny of Black people in this country. But they know if they continue to suffocate and strangulate and castrate the Black male, then the Black nation can never rise. So Black men are targets for extermination. Why? Because the fear is that the prophecy will be fulfilled. What does the prophecy say? The prophecy says that the last shall be first. The prophecy says that we would take those who are foolish and use the foolish ones to teach the wise.
This is like my second year coming supporting this summit, and so I'm definitely great and excited to see that the young men in each class are actually paying attention, and not just the young men but also their parents. So I think that's good, even the mothers and the fathers together. So I think that's very great.
These summits, like you said, are most impactful, but it's good for them to see what we expect to be modeled, and also to understand that someone's been where they're at, because when you can't relate, it doesn't seem relevant or real. And because this summit touches all those phases, it really helps them understand and go back feeling empowered and encouraged, but hopefully they have someone to connect with when they leave as well, to seek out support, so that way they won't be in the positions that some of the speakers have experienced, and they can learn from the lessons.
We use the lion as the mascot of the Smarten Up because the lion is naturally king of the jungle. The lion is said to be the one who rules the jungle. Well, we don't simply use a lion. We use a lion wearing eyeglasses. The lion represents courage. The eyeglasses represent intelligence. We want to build in Black boys and young Black men a healthy, balanced combination of courage and intelligence. Our young brothers don't have a problem with courage. They'll run up on you, some of them, and kill you in broad daylight. But the problem is you're killing your own. Now, at the same time, you have some Black men who go off to college and they receive an education from Caesar, and they develop intelligence, but they are taught to be afraid. So a Black man with courage and no intelligence is a reckless man, and he's bound to self-destruct. A Black man with intelligence but no courage will always use his brain power not to build something for himself, but to build something for his oppressor. So we use the lion with the glasses on the lion to send a message just through that imagery that you have to develop both. You got to be strong, but at the same time, you got to be smart.
in communities where their fathers are not attached to their lives. They may not get the lessons that they need at home. So I think it's important for us to try to pass that message down to them. After spending so many years in prison and so many years on the streets, seeing so much death, I think it's important for us to be that village that we always talk about, raising our community. So that's why I do what I do, and that's what I think the Black Male Summit is so important for individuals to have a chance to see individuals as myself and other strong Black males that's leading them down the path of success. Guns in America is the title of my workshop, and what it's dealing with is the amount of guns that has reached the urban communities. I think that when America goes and start a war in another country, saying that they're fighting to get rid of weapons of mass destruction and have so many weapons of mass destructions in the Black community. I think it's important for us to bring that awareness to our people about how we're destroying each other at the hands of ourselves. I'm a strong opponent when it comes down to injustices that happen to Blacks in our community. I'm a strong opponent when they say Black Lives Matter, but I also like for individuals to know that Black lives have to matter to Black people first, else it will never ever matter to anyone else. So that's one of the things that we push through every message that we give. In your struggle right here in America, make sure that you find the greatness that's within yourself. Stop looking at everybody else's greatness and overlooking your own. You can be anything that you set out to be. The problem is you ain't trying to be a damn thing right now. Farewell is what we hear all the time. And I tell people, look, don't just sit back and let life pass you by. Live life to the fullest. You have to live life to the very fullest, else you'll never, ever accomplish anything in life. Life is a sweet gift, but if you don't take that gift and value it, you'll find yourself like so many others, wasting your time here.
The formation and the organizing of Black Male Summits is not a one-man show. The war to save the Black male is one that requires the unity of the whole. So we're very careful in our selection.
Wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. You can't really tell.
And those
you couldn't really tell
to our boys. You see, all it takes is for one person who's standing before the brothers seeking self-aggrandizement and not necessarily seeking to
we just set them like up toward the front.
All it takes is one presentation, and these boys will tune you out. So the thing that I look for in those that I partner with for the Smart Enough Black Male Summit, first and foremost, you must have a sincere love for our youth. You must have a sincere heart to want to serve our people and our youth. If you don't, they'll feel it. Within the first couple of sentences you speak, these youngsters, they're able to sniff out who is a friend, who is a foe, who is a fake and a fraud, and who's there to keep it real with them. So it takes lots of partnerships in order to pull it off. You have to understand that we as a people, we're a very unique people, but we're a very diverse culture as well. So we have Christian speakers at the Black Male Summit. We have Muslim speakers, obviously, at the summit. We have those who may have been incarcerated. We have those who are Black professionals, lawyers, doctors, entrepreneurs, business owners. You name it, we'll bring them in if they have the heart to serve our people and if their message is one that we believe our boys will gravitate toward.
What group are y'all in? Three. So y'all haven't been in 114? No. So group 3 will go to.
We have not.
Oh, okay. Group 3 will go to 114.
I'm volunteering for this year's Black Male Summit. This is about our probably 5th year coming. And when I come here, it kind of brings tears to my eyes because all boys need to know that this exists. And I feel like every year it gets more powerful and it's more uplifting. And because of this summit, my son changed his life so that he can help change somebody else's life. And I think the next time this summer come around, we need to have carloads of boys bringing them here if we got to go into the neighborhoods with our own personal cars because it's well worth it and they need it. My name is Kamisha and I volunteer for the Male Summit.
I sometimes catch flack for leaving the door open for women to come to the Black Male Summit. But sometimes a young girl can come to the summit and learn just as much as young boys. But I really leave the door open because the statistics say that 70% of our homes are being run by women. And so you have all of these homes where young boys are being raised with no father. Well, I feel as if though if these single mothers are doing it by themselves, we bring them in hopes that they could glean something from what we say to help them to raise their sons. People say a single mom can't raise a son. Yes, she can. She just can't do it by herself. It is easy for us to say, Black man, come home and be a father to your son. But single moms need help right now.
This is my second year driving from Leesville, Louisiana, to bring my two children to the Black Male Summit, due to the fact that I think that it's extremely important that we have an outlet, and us as Black men and women, we need to be torchbearers and teach our kids the things that we weren't taught back when we were youth. And the times are different now. You have so many different things with the music and the edified gang lifestyle and things of that nature that kids are buying into, and they don't have any positivity. So I take this trip every year for the last 2 years to give my kids something tangible, something that they can grab onto and know that there are people out there that look like them, that are intelligent and doing bigger and better things, as well as for their communities.
We need to learn how to get together ourselves before we talk about Black Lives Matter when some don't do it themselves. And in our own race, we're attacking our own race, and we should be helping each other before we start putting our word out even more.
Listen to these men speak will sometimes be able to encourage a guy to do the right thing. It only takes one guy, one person to instill hope in anybody. So just one thing, one speaker can instill hope and set one man, one youth on to do the right thing the rest of his life, and he can do something for other kids. So it's like teach one, and then he'll grow, and then he can teach one, and they'll grow.
We came to be able to build with our people. We're talking about Black influential men, powerful men. One of the most powerful men that walked the earth was Jesus the Christ. When we read Revelation 1:14, he was the most powerful, strong Black man that walked this earth. And he's our example, he's our role model, and we must follow after him in the keeping of God's commandments in these last days as being the children of Israel. With that, we say shalom.
And I remember one day walking into a Black-owned computer store. A friend of mine actually owns the store. And when I walked in, I recognized a young man that I'd seen before. And after we finished talking, the owner of the store came out and asked me, "You don't know who that is?" I said, "Yeah, I know the young brother." He said to me, "I met him at the Black Male Summit. He is one of my best employees. As a matter of fact, he runs all of my stores." But
Mic check, mic check, mic check. What can we do with this? Let me know when we live, my brother. How y'all doing this morning? How y'all doing this morning? All right. Good to see you. Good to see you, young man. 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 Move it out the way. Thank you, brother. We live? All right. Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Doing all right. All right. First of all, let me say in the name of Almighty God, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God. It is an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to stand in front of you great ones today at, I think this might be our 13th, 14th annual Blackmail Summit. We've been doing this for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I see a young man right here who was literally a cub the last time I saw him at the summit, and now he's like a big old lion. So please give yourselves a round of applause for being here on time. I know it's a little bit early. Some of you are still wiping the cold out of your eyes. We have a small socially distanced group right here live with us, but most of you will be joining us live via the internet. We want to thank you for tuning in. Let me just say that things are going to move very, very fast today. We up early and we moving fast. And that in and of itself is a signal that we have to send to our young black males. You got to get up early and you got to move fast. So let me first say, I want to dedicate this Black Male Summit to my grandmother. On October the 7th, my beautiful 92-year-old grandmother made her transition from this physical life into eternity. My grandmother was a very strong force in my life. And today we want to dedicate this to her. And I want to say to you her last words to me. When I visited my grandmother the last time in the hospital, as I was leaving out of the hospital room, she must have had a sense that it was going to be the last time that she saw me. Because she said, "Derek," I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Be careful. Be careful." And that's it. Those were the words that she spoke. Be careful. So I carry those words with me 24/7. What did she mean when she said, be careful? She meant many things, I'm sure. But I want to say to you, as young black men and boys listening to me, the same thing she said to me, be careful. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to start off by telling the story of a young boy who got all A's on his report card. And he went to his father, and his father said, "Boy, you know you done good. You got all A's on your report card. What do you want?" He said, "Daddy, I want a pet monkey. I want a pet monkey." So he went out, bought his son little old pet monkey. If y'all been around long enough, you know Michael Jackson used to have one. I think his name was Bubbles or something, right? So you know what it's like when your child does something good, you want to reward them for it. Well, that's what he did. So he bring the monkey home, and then the mother, with her, mother wit, looked and said, "Are you sure that's a monkey?" Of course that's a monkey. So they went and put him in the back room, and every day the little boy would go play with his little pet monkey. And as time went by, the pet monkey started getting big. And it got bigger and bigger until they realized that his daddy had bought him a whole gorilla. They thought it was a monkey, but it ended up growing into a gorilla. And so the little boy had developed a relationship with the little monkey. He liked to play with him. He liked to wrestle with him. He liked to push him around. But his mother used her mother wit again and said, "Boy, you better stop going and play with that gorilla. That gorilla is going to break your back." Boy kept going back. You know how it is when your mama tell you not to do something. That's the next thing you want to go do. So he kept going in to play with the gorilla. And then one day the gorilla grabbed him, snapped him in half, broke his back. Today I want to talk to you very briefly about 7 gorillas. 7 gorillas. The name of my talk is called The 7 Gorillas. Okay, I'm gonna write this on the board so you don't forget it. The 7 gorillas. Those of you who are listening via internet, I want you to write that down. The 7 gorillas. Just like that little boy didn't want to listen to his parents and decided he wanted to continue to play with something that was bigger than him, every last one of us got a gorilla in our life that we keep playing with. And we're not going to be satisfied until that gorilla breaks our back. Listen to what I'm saying. Gorilla number 1. Ignorance. It is the biggest gorilla of them all. Ignorance, meaning one who lacks knowledge. As a matter of fact, when you look at the word ignorance, in it you have the word ignore. Now, there was a time when if somebody came and asked me, Pastor Deckard, how many inches does it take to make a mile? I had to go to some book, look in and try to find, a math book or something. Nowadays, you have knowledge right at your fingertips. There are very few questions for which you cannot find the answer just in your phone. So if we're in the age of information, that means you have knowledge, but you are ignoring the knowledge when it's time to deal with the gorilla, or you are ignoring the opportunity to gain knowledge, to get your knowledge up. So ignorance is the number 1 gorilla. The answer is education. You have to be found educating yourself. Every black male in America has to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you have a problem. Because if you don't have a plan, somebody got a plan for you. And their plan is really not for you. Their plan for you is really for them. So we defeat the gorilla of ignorance by reading. We defeat the gorilla of ignorance by watching what we allow to enter into the temple of our minds. You got to watch the music that you listen to. And I know some of your favorite rappers, all they talk about is carrying the Draco and how much money they made selling dope. Listen, this is garbage. It's garbage. It is not going to help to advance you in life. And we don't have time for anything that's going to not help us advance in life. You're a black man in America. You're a target. The number 1 gorilla is ignorance. Now I want to talk to you about the silverback gorilla. They say the silverback gorilla is the strongest animal on earth. I could be wrong. That's what I heard. But y'all got y'all phones so y'all can Google it and correct me if I'm wrong, all right? The criminal justice system. That's gorilla number 2, all right? And for those of you who may not understand me saying it in long form, I'm just going to put it like this. Jail. Jail. You know what that is, right? Listen, Carter G. Woodson said, look him up. He was a beautiful scholar and a very strong brother. Carter G. Woodson said that a system cannot fail someone that it was not designed to give justice to in the first place. What I'm telling you that the criminal justice system is a gorilla that was born, bred, and raised to break your back as a black man. Stay out of there. The best way to stay out of the criminal justice system is to do your best to walk the straight and narrow, be honorable, live as an individual who has character, and don't follow the crowd. You're not going to find your greatness following the crowd. Y'all got to stop following the crowd that you were born to lead. You were born to lead that crowd. You weren't born to follow that crowd. Now, a couple of months ago, maybe a few weeks ago, a white boy by the name of Kyle Rittenhouse was on trial. The 17-year-old Caucasian male, strapped with an AR-15, I believe, he went to a protest rally, murdered 2 people. Now, remember, he went there strapped with the AR-15, murdered 2 people, and was exonerated. Now, if Kyle Rittenhouse had been black, if his name was Kyle Jackson or Kyle Johnson or Kendrick, whatever, had he looked like you, there's no way he'd be at home getting ready for the prom in May right now. So there's not a double standard against black males in the criminal justice system. There's a triple standard, a quadruple standard. You ain't got a chance. So a life of crime is not for you. That's not for you. A life of crime, that's for somebody else, because you are not going to get away with it. But I already know what some of you were saying, Brother Derek. I've been selling dope for 6 months. I'm making $500 a week and everything's going well. But you know what you're doing? You're doing like that little boy. You keep going back playing with that gorilla. That gorilla going to only be kind to you for so long, and before you know it, your back will be broken. All right? I'm going to throw you for a loophole with number 3. Some of y'all not going to like this. But if I don't say it, I'm going to get in trouble. Disrespecting your mama. Bro. That's a big one. And I have to say it because, Brother Riley, I'm seeing a lot of youngsters nowadays, they don't mind calling their mama female dog. I mean, they tell it to her right to her face. Call her a whore. But they say it, the urban way. Right to her face. And I'm saying to myself, when did it become okay for you to disrespect your mother? And I know what some of you were saying, well, Brother Derek, you don't know my mama. Ain't no such thing as a perfect mama. But I tell you what, she went to hell to give birth to you. What you look like putting her through hell twice by your actions toward her. But what I'm really saying is this: I've never seen any man who has been blatantly disrespectful to his mama and was just able to have some good fortune. God just don't smile on that. The universe just don't smile on that. You cannot be disrespectful to your mom. And see, when you disrespectful to your mother, what that does is it set the pace for how you're going to treat women in general. And let me tell you something. You get yourself in a whole lot of trouble being disrespectful to women. So, brother, gorilla number 3 is disrespecting mama. So if you know that you have been this way, first of all, you know you're wrong. But the beautiful thing about being, the child of a merciful God is that he allows you to live to see another day. So just stop it. Honor thy mother and thy father, that your days might be what? That's what they say. So if honoring mother and father make your days long, what does dishonoring and disrespecting them do? It make your days short, right? All right, let's talk about another gorilla. Drugs and alcohol. Am I spelling this right? I got to get it right. Dope. Dope. I know some of you are saying, "Bro, Derek, I don't use drugs. I just smoke weed." Dope. Dope. The real question is why? Why? See, the chemical in the body that the drugs and the alcohol sets off is a natural chemical. If you put it in your mind that you're going to build a skyscraper, if you go and you build that skyscraper and then you stand back and you look at the reality of what was in your mind, you get the same kind of high. But you just looking for the shortcut. You looking for the shortcut. Let me tell you something. I seen a lot of brothers who thought they were just smoking weed, but they didn't grow the weed. They didn't distribute the. You don't know what you're smoking half the time. And if you mess around and smoke the wrong thing, it will take you on a trip and you won't make it all the way back. And I'm talking about this kind of trip, all right? So this is not something that you want to play with because too much of anything ain't no good. Remember what I told you that the little boy did? He kept going back in playing with that gorilla because he thought everything was sweet. And all it took was that one time. And that gorilla broke his back. Don't let this break your back, bro. All I'm saying, and I'm not trying to judge anybody, but all I'm saying is if you become dependent on this to make you feel good, then what you're going to do is you're going to put to sleep your natural ability to make yourself feel good through the things that you accomplish in life. Am I making sense, y'all? All right, let's go to number 5. Entertainment. I got to make sure I spell these words right. One of my old teachers might be looking, and they'd be like, he know better than that. Entertainment. Can somebody tell me what entertainment is? You don't know how to describe entertainment? What about you? You know what entertainment is? Something that you do when you're trying to have fun. All right. Anybody else want to take a stab? Yes, sir, brother Uncle. Okay, I like that. Another form of distraction. A way to occupy your time. That is really what I want to lean on. That's another thing that I'm seeing. Young man sit in the house all day long playing video games. Now, you have some guys out there who are what they call gamers. And they make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars playing games. Now, if this is how you're making your money, I can't judge you on that. But if you are jobless at the moment, okay, or you don't even have to be jobless. If there's something more productive that you could be doing with your time, you cannot afford to waste your time playing Fortnite all day and all night. You just can't afford to do it. Why? Because you got all of these goddamn gorillas that you got to deal with. And what happens is, see, sometimes as black men and black boys and young black males, we get down on ourselves. You know what I realized when my grandmother, transitioned? I realized that it is in every young black boys, it's in our nature, it's our desire to want to make our mother and our grandmother proud. We all want to make our moms proud. But when you in a space where you're not doing that and you get down on yourself, you use video games as a way just to pass the time. Next thing you know, you addicted to something that's not real. We're in here saying, yep. But some of us had that same kind of addiction to Instagram, Facebook, social media. These are gorillas. And this is the gorilla because it will eat up your time. See, let me tell you something about today. One thing about today is your BFF. It's your best friend forever. It's your best friend. because tomorrow is not promised. But it's a BFF that don't last forever. You mess around and spend a year on entertainment, that's valuable time that you're losing. Well, you should be chasing your goals and chasing your greatness. So you have to curb this. You have to be careful of what you allow to entertain you, because entertainment becomes addictive, and the more addictive it becomes, the more you begin to lose your sense of reality. Let's go to number 6. Poverty. Poverty. And poverty, yeah, it deals with money, but it's more of a poverty mindset. I got a dog, right? English bulldog. That joker like to eat, man. And his food is expensive too, you know. But no matter how much food you put out for the dog, he gonna eat it up right then and there. He not worried about tomorrow. But the difference between the dog and the ant is that the dog is gonna eat his right then and there. But the ant is busy putting something away in the summertime so that he's not gonna be hungry in the winter. We have to think more like the ant and not like the dog. See, the poverty mindset is a gorilla. I heard this artist rapper by the name of NBA Youngboy. Have you any of y'all ever heard of him? Raise your hand. Y'all heard of NBA Youngboy? So NBA Youngboy, in an interview recently, said that he doesn't make any money off his YouTube videos. He doesn't make any money off his music because he's in what they call a 360 deal. Y'all know what that is, right? That means that the record label that he signed to gets money from any kind of money he generates, they take a certain percentage of, right? And this guy is the #1 streaming artist on YouTube. I mean, he's #1, but he's not seeing a dime from what it is that his artistry is creating. So they might give him 20 million, but if he's really worth 200 million, he's still poor. It's a mindset, right? It's a gorilla. And the way that we're going to get this gorilla off of our back is we have to learn to use what's called group economics. You know what group economics is, bro? You don't know what group economics is? Do you know what group economics is? This is group economics. Let's say you wanted to buy a car. Y'all brothers, right? All right. Let's say you wanted to buy a car, and the car costs $2,500. But all you got is $1,250. You can't afford it. But he got $1,252. He can't afford the car himself. But if you all put y'all money together and share the car, that's what you call group economics. Okay? The point I'm making is don't try to do it by yourself. The best way for us to do it is for us to do it together as a unit, as a brotherhood. This is how we break the back of the gorilla that's called poverty. But it's something that we all wrestle with. So you may be born into, my family don't have no money. Most of us are. Most of us work. But you ain't got to stay like that. Am I making sense, y'all? All right. This is gorilla number 7. I got to look it up. Oh, yeah. I used to have good handwriting, man. I don't know what happened to me. Gorilla number 7 is poor health. It's poor health. And I know some of you are saying, Brother Derek, I ain't but 22 years old. I ain't worried about my health. Trust me, bro. Trust me when I tell you. How you live in your 20s determines your quality of life in your 30s. How you live in your 30s determines your quality of life in your 40s. If you drink and smoke your 20s away, by the time you 40, I'm telling you, your body is going to get its lick back. It's going to get that get back. You'll be walking around with lung cancer in your 40s because you thought you were invincible in your 20s. Trust me. So you have to be mindful of the food you eat. You have to be mindful to make sure you get exercise, like get into that while you're young. So that when you get older, you can reap the benefits of how you live when you were young. But it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you have poor health, you poor. You miserable. Doesn't matter if you're a billionaire. Ask Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was a billionaire of Apple computers. But he couldn't buy himself a healthy body when he was cancer stricken. That's a lesson for us all. So take care of yourself, my brothers. So these are 7 gorillas. There are others, but we're just going to deal with these 7 right now. And if you make up in your mind that you're going to break the backs of these gorillas instead of letting the gorilla break your back, if you make up your mind today, I guarantee you that your life is going to change. Now, the thing about the gorillas is they feed into one another, all right? The ignorance. If you're not highly intelligent, if you don't become a nerd at something, every black man has to be a nerd at something. Floyd Mayweather is a boxing nerd. LeBron James is a basketball. You got to be a nerd at something. If you remain ignorant, you feel like you run out of options, you go out there, you commit a crime, it feeds you right into this criminal justice system. And it's waiting on you. That's the silverback gorilla right there. You see what I'm saying? If you become disrespectful to your mother, next thing you know, you feel like you got a curse on your life. You begin to get depressed. Next thing you know, you're using drugs and alcohol. And they all just feed into one another. So make up your mind today that you are not going to allow any of these gorillas to break your back, that you're going to be the one to break the back of the gorilla, and we'll go from there. Thank y'all for listening to me, and we're going to bring up our next presenter, Brother OG1. You ready, my brother? All right, let's get it. Let's give it up for Brother OG1. You can't think though I felt your energy. I like you. Broken promise. I like that statement on your shirt. Before I get started, I always give thanks to this red-haired lady here, Dirk. He talks about, that's my mama. That's my mama. I'm going to give thanks to her because if it wasn't for her, I'd still be in prison. I kind of like you too, bro. Can I get who shared this here? Tell me to get you close to me too, bro. Get out. You put this right here. I need to see you too. Fly guy. I don't want all the fly players in here. I can feel your energy too. Because I'm not going to be up here to talk to you. Because I know white man got something for you. You know what it is? He got something for all of us. I don't know what Brother Derek's talking about. He had something for us back then. He put our name on it back then. Negro woman and child on it. So, you know, I'm going to stand up here and I'm going to talk about number 2, this criminal justice system. And how my ignorance allowed myself to get caught up with number 2.
And I'm gonna tell y'all up here, y'all don't have to listen to me and listen to nothing I have to say, because you know what? You know what? They got a sub for you. How old are you? Huh? Well, they lock you up at 10. And I'm gonna start off by saying this here. I'm in the jails all the time, and the number one people I see in jails is people that look like me and you. Black and brown people. And I know I don't have a lot of time, because I can speak for about 4 hours, but I'm gonna start off by saying this here. My mama did everything in her power to save me. Even though my daddy didn't do his job, because I'm not gonna fault my daddy, because my daddy didn't have a daddy that know how to do his job. My daddy was damaged. And he had what you call an alcohol problem. And that's how we get caught up when we don't want to deal with the issues out here in the world. We resort to alcohol, sex, weed, and alcohol. By the age of 16, my life had become such a following. Kicking it with the homeboys. Experimenting with this stuff called marijuana. Not speaking up and letting people know that I had what you call dyslexia at an early age. You know what dyslexia is? Look at me, please. What is it? Yeah, reading problems. 80% of black men in prison got reading problems. That's why Brother Dave said sometimes we get ignorant because we don't like to read. Or we don't challenge ourselves in areas of reading. And that's why we always get caught up as become, puppets. And it always goes back to what he also said, those that refuse to think for their damn self become the slave of the damn thinker. And you know what I mean by that? That's why gang lifestyle becomes so easy to get you attracted. And before you know it, gets you attracted. And before you know it, you know what this is, Blair? A trap. It can't be just a mouse trap, because I can get your ass in it if I catch you slipping. And the traps don't only go with here. The traps are things like Grand Theft Auto. Have you ever played this damn game? Huh? It's a trap, ain't it? We talked about that, huh? What they teach you? How to rape a woman, how to kill a popo. You know what an op is? Who know what an op is? You know what op is? They talking music. They say the word op in music all the time, don't they? We got ops. Oh, I got 2 more in the back. Can I get y'all to come up here, bro? Y'all way back there. Come in here, bro. Grab that chair there, y'all. Sit over there. By the age of 16, I'm grown. You know my brother? Mama couldn't tell me nothing no more. Start smelling myself. You talking about basketball wasn't smart, but stop looking at basketball, and you know what started looking good to me at 16? Them girls. Ooh, God. Start smelling. You know what I mean? Smelling yourself when you basketball, girls, get to looking good. And the sad thing about them girls, them good girls love them thugs. Good girls love them bad boys. Hey, ain't smiling on that. No. Don't lie on that player. You know what I'm talking about. And by me having low self-esteem about myself, you know why I say that? No courage, no confidence, no leadership ability, following the crowd, getting caught up in the trap. By the age of 16, I was certified as a adult. You know what I mean by certification? By the age of 16, I was certified as an adult and sent to the adult prison in Midway, Texas, Ferguson, with 200 years, 450-year sentence. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm going to say all y'all right now, just like Brother Derek said, it's full of young brothers that look like you and me. And I don't think none of y'all, you plan on going? You plan on going? Are you going? Well, how in the hell they getting all us down now? And everybody I go to prison and ask, are you? Oh, I'm not. I ain't doing. Everybody in there innocent. Again, I'm gonna fall back to what my mother told me. My mother told me, son, quit hanging around those people. Your mama ever told you? Watch who you hang with. Huh? Boy ain't no good. No, mom, you don't know what you're talking about. Huh? Mama ever told you that? Dad ever told you that? Watch who you hang with. Huh? What about you? Huh? Sometimes we just let it go through one ear and come out the other ear. Amen. Amen. But I'm gonna go back in a little ways because when my mother used to tell me I used to do things and I got caught up dealing with young ladies because I can't leave it for them. When I was 16, I had a young lady pregnant before I went to prison. And when I went to prison, her family, her mother, the baby's mother would never let her come in and see me. And I used to think about that. I left my daughter out in the world with her mother and I'm incarcerated. But I had to fade out of that. So sometimes we let stuff, we try to fade it away because in prison, you got to do fight, flight, or survive at all times. Anybody know what I mean? Fight, flight, or survive in prison at all times? Huh? I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna skip that and go right to this here, do you? Because a lot of us got to know that in prison, when I first got there, everybody don't get hold of this, but I had to. Anybody know what that is? You know what that is? I'm gonna talk about that lifestyle because it was a young man 2 weeks ago that was a part of the treatment center that I go to by the name of Fred, that was 19 years old, mentally disturbed. Anybody heard, you heard about the young man last week that was killed last week in prison, in jail, downtown Harris County? Man bashed his head in the ground. 19 years old, 19 years old, they put him in, they put his head on the concrete and they bashed his head into the ground in the concrete and they pulled one of these things. Have you pictured wearing this kind of stuff in prison and jail? Huh? You know where they keep that in jail? How you carry that around in jail? Do you know how they carry that around in jail? Huh? You ain't, have you, huh? Are you practicing? Why? Because you ain't going to jail, right? Okay. He pulled this out and he stabbed the mentally challenged special needs kid to death in jail. Right here in Harris County. So what I'm saying to you, and why you getting there in an institution that causes you to have to fight, flight, or survive, your life in that institution is constantly trying to figure out how do you survive this institution. Going back to what my mother used to tell me. Son, stay focused, do what you have to do, stay and keep in the gift. Stay safe, just like that. Stay safe while you're there, and you'll get out one day. And I kept that in my mind when I went in there. I ended up going to Ferguson unit, and on the Ferguson unit, my first 4 years in there, because I had what most of us have, I had what you call an attitude problem, an anger problem. You know what I'm talking about when I say an attitude and anger problem? You got an attitude problem, brother? Huh? How do you deal with your attitude problem? Huh? You don't know how to deal with your attitude problem? You see what it says on that board up there, anger and anger? How do you deal with your attitude? I can see you just blow out, don't you? You know what I'm saying? You rage, huh? You go straight from anger to 100 right quick. 0 to 100 quick, don't you? Okay. So you don't have an attitude problem. Huh? You either got it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? You can't be half pregnant. Either you have it or you don't. Huh? You got an attitude problem? See, one thing about denying things that you have and don't deal with it. Do you have an attitude problem now? How you deal with it? It just let you you don't know. It, either you're gonna let it control your life and explode, and before you know it, you're doing stuff that you're gonna regret because you never talked about it to deal with it. Who are you dealing with, and how you deal with your attitude problem? How you dealing with that? Work out. How you deal with your attitude problem, player? Football. Okay. You got attitude problem, anger problem? How you deal with yours? Basketball. What about you? If you're angry, you draw, you work out. How you handle your anger and attitude problem? Huh? You run. What about you? You play? You don't have an anger problem? I had an anger problem, an attitude problem. Didn't know how to deal with my anger and attitude problem. My attitude problem became what you call rageaholic. You know what a rageaholic is? Person that become rage. When you go to kicking stuff, throwing stuff around, I don't care, call the police. And before you know it, you're breaking windows, kicking doors down. And before the next thing you know, you're putting your hands on somebody else. That was me. But all that built up because I never knew how to express myself when I was coming up through the pain of dealing with probably an abusive father that was at the house. And I carried that energy without talking to express myself. And a lot of that stuff, when you hold it in, you explode at times. You ain't ready for it. And that's how some young people like me end up in institutions like jail. When I first made it to Ferguson, because I had my attitude problem, it locked me up for 4 years in solitary confinement. You know what solitary confinement is? That means I was in what's that? All day by myself, about an hour a day. And they let me out. They let me out for about an hour a day to play basketball, run around. Then they would lock me back up. Then I got out. It took me. I attempted suicide 3 times while I was in solitary confinement. Now I'm talking about a 16-year-old. Then when I was eventually let out because they wanted to get me off the unit, they sent me to another unit 4 away. I went right to Cofield unit because I had that same attitude problem that I never dealt with. Went right to another unit, and when somebody made me mad, I kicked over all this spread, and he jumped up and stabbed me in the back. And that sent me from that unit to the John Steele unit. I stayed there for 6 months trying to get my life together, laying on the bed, my mother coming in to see me while I'm laying on that bed with that IV in my arm, begging me, son. I left there and went to Central Unit, right here in Sugar Land, Texas. And I made a commitment and a promise to myself when I made it to Sugar Land, Texas, that I'm going to do something different as a young man to get my life back on track. Before they let me on that unit, the warden come to me and say, before you stay here, you're going to have to get in class and get your GED. It took me 6 months to get my GED. I stayed in there, fought it out, received my GED. From that moment on, my whole life turned around and I went up. I started a program in prison back in 1978. It went all over the world called Scared Straight. You ever heard of that program now? I took that Scared Straight program. While I was in prison. I applied it to 15 other different units while I was in prison. Started serving young men all over the country, bringing young men in from all over Texas to try to get some information about this institution called prison. Once I did that, I was released after doing 20 years in prison. And the only way that happened is because I reapplied myself to what people kept telling me. If you can read your way out of this institution, so I started connecting myself with people that started writing letters for me, started speaking up for me, and before you know it, I was allowed to make parole on 20 years, and I was released from prison. What I wanted to do when I got out of prison, I didn't want to come back to Houston. I left here and went to Temple, Texas, and became what you call a car salesman. Anything I got involved in, once I was released, I became almost like number one. I rise to the top and become a car salesman, but that wasn't my plan. After putting this program together, I came to Houston and started this program called Operation Outreach OG1. What I'm right now going to schools, institutions, jails, and I'm getting young men to understand that this is the trap that you're going to see and run into right now. Right now, the trap that I'm trying to get young men to see now that we don't want to see it, like Brother Derek said, marijuana. There's no such thing as marijuana no more. We have marijuana mixed with fentanyl now. Anybody know what that is? Do y'all know that between April of 2000 and April of 2001, there was 100,000 people OD'd on fentanyl drugs. You know what that is? Elephant tranquilizer being mixed with marijuana, being pressed down in pills. And young people are dying on this stuff at an alarming number here around the country. So what I'm trying to get y'all to understand that it's a trap that's set up for all us out here. And we got to find good mentors, good people in your life that you can speak up to about. Know how to deal with your anger and not hold it in. Because to hold that anger in is going to cost you a big price that you may not be ready to pay for. We can't resort back to when you get a problem that you resort back to, well, I can't handle this here, so can I hit the joint? Young people, it's a war going on out here. It's a war. And each one of us in this room here have to be strong enough to be ready to speak up, stand up, talk about the issues, talk about the problem. Find people in your life that you trust. Understand that it's no easy way out of trying to make easy money, quick money, fast money. You're going to have to do the work. You have to, look here, you're going to have to get on the front line and get involved. You're going to have to speak up. And therefore, understand that just like I told you in the beginning, we have to invest more in dealing with reading and getting involved in the books. And I tell my son all the time, when was the last time you asked your mama to stop by a bookstore? When's the last time you asked her, Mom, let's go to the bookstore? Huh? When the last time? Mom, with new books that's come out. When did you go to the bookstore, Mom? When the last time you did? Huh? Never. It's just over your head, ain't it? When the last time you did? Have you ever, Mom, book that's come out today? Huh? Young people. People put information out about us that we need to read. State of emergency. And when you get a chance, look it up and find out where we at this day and time and being in a state of emergency. Because they will close your school down before they close down a prison. You know why they do that? They make more money on you. And I'm going to tell you this thing I tell most young people here, and I tell people when I go visit, don't get your name on that website. Keep your name off that website. You know, your name, who name on the website? Your name on the website? You don't even know what the website I'm talking about, do you? Huh? I know what, you know, my name, I can get my name off, but you know what that website was? www.dumbass.com website. Watch the trap, because even people that's dumb doing crime, it's money into selling little black boys. It's money into selling little black boys and brown boys. So stay focused. If you need somebody to speak to somebody to talk up, don't get caught in the trap. I do this here because I love you, but I can't love you more than you love yourself. You got to put in the work too. If we have leaders, we don't need no more problems. Thank you. I appreciate your time. All this stuff up here, if you want to see it, and I'm for one thing before I go, brother. You know, I bring these things here. Look here, say, look here. I got all this old stuff with me. I brought that old handcuff with me. Look at the old handcuff. Old nice. See, old handcuff, old plates, colors to this restaurant. See, we have to stay hooked to your history because they're trying to kill it in your school system. They got old handcuffs and they got new handcuffs. And each one of them fits you and me. Get your attitude together, player. Because you know what? Anger is one letter away from dying. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here, and thank you to everyone who joined us live via Facebook and YouTube. Please have a seat, family. If you're watching via Facebook, if you're watching via YouTube, we're going to ask that you share the live stream. Share the live stream. This is the best way for you to help us to reach more people. Coming up, we have a very special guest who's not really even like a guest. He's become a staple at the Black Male Summit. Brother Mayor Sylvester Turner has supported the Black Male Summit long before he was even a mayor. And if you know anything about him and his story, his humble beginning, where he was able to come from and where he's going in a pretty short period of time. We're going to talk about that once I get him up here. Just please join us for a great conversation with our dear brother Mayor Sylvester Turner, the mayor of Houston, the fourth largest city in America. Give it up for Mayor Turner. My mic good? Have a seat. Make yourself right at home, Mr. Mayor. All right, give it up for our mayor, y'all. First of all, thank you so much for your years of support for the Black Male Summit and other initiatives that are specifically put in place to empower Black males. With over 400 murders down in the city of Houston right now. Violence is up, I think maybe 30 to 35 to 40% nationwide. So it's not just a Houston problem. Right. It's just it's a societal problem. Why do you think it's so important that we invest in our youth, particularly Black men?
Well, number one, let me start off by thanking Brother Derek. He's thanking me for being supportive of the Black Male Summit. He's the one that's been spearheading the Black Male Summit over these many years. How many years now?
About 13.
About 13 years. So give it up to Brother Derek. I just have the privilege of being a supporter. Okay. So I want to thank him. Then I want to thank all of you, for participating every year. This summit takes place. So it's not only beneficial for you all. It's beneficial for people like me. Look, one of the things we have to do is that we have to invest in our youth. We have to invest in folk like you. Um, we're right here at Lone Star Community College. You know, right. I guess you can say right next door, so to speak, to Acres Home, the north side.
The door rock can probably hit your house.
The fofo. I can walk from here to my house. I grew up in Acres Home. I still live in Acres Home. Proud to live in Acres Home. So it's important to invest in our communities and our neighborhoods. Uh, look, there are several communities, neighborhoods across the city. Whether it's Acres Home, the fofo, whether it's Fifth Ward, the Nickel, Third Ward, the Trade, Sunnyside, City Gas, you name it, where we haven't made those investments. Where there are a lot of things that are taking place, illegal dumping, for example, in these communities, parks that need to be improved. So it's important for young persons to recognize that we care, that where they live is important, that who they are, that they are important as anybody, any place in this city. They need to see it, not just see us talking about it, but they need to see us making real time investments in their community. And I'll always remember when I grew up, my dad was a yard man, and he would load his boys up in the back of a pickup truck and take us on the other side on the other side of town. And then we noticed that the streets were better, you know, uh, houses look better, bigger. I mean, everything seemed so much better on the other side of town. And we would say to my dad, "Why does it look so different over here than where we come from?"
That's a good question.
And as you know, being 12, 13, 14, 15, that that played with my mind, you know. And my dad just said, "Hey, son, just stay at it. Uh, life will get better. Life will get better." But I never understood. I never understood that. So I think it's we talked about crime and things going up, but to me, the best way to lower that crime is to invest in people in all of these neighborhoods. And that's why I support the Black Male Initiative. That's why I'm here today. That's why I take the time to come, because people need to see it. I was listening to OG1, what he was saying, right on time. But we've got to be the role models that people see. So that's a long way of saying it, but it's about investing in everybody in our city.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Before you got here, I told a story of a little boy who asked his daddy for a pet monkey, and the daddy brought him a pet monkey, and the mama said, "Listen, this don't look like no monkey." So they put him in the back room, and the thing kept growing. Before they know it, they realized they had bought a gorilla. And the little boy kept going back there playing with the gorilla. And mama said, "Listen, stop playing with that gorilla. That gorilla gonna break your back." And that's what ended up happening. So what I did is I laid out just seven gorillas that we as black men and black males, have to deal with. And number three dealt with respect for your mother, right? And this is the question I want to ask you. My grandmother passed away recently, and in her passing, I realized the power of making your mother proud, your grandmother proud. And I realized that's every young boy wants to do that. And when he's not making his mother proud and his father proud, that's frustrating. Sometimes that's why we act out. Your mom was a domestic worker at the Rice Hotel downtown. Am I correct? A maid. Okay, the domestic work is a sophisticated way of saying it.
She was a maid.
Yeah, my grandmother did the same kind of work in River Oaks. That's the only kind of work that black women could get back then.
But let me say that I don't say that in a disrespectful way now.
Right.
Okay? I don't say that in a disrespectful way. She got her kids ready to go to school. She took that next bus, to make us home. She went downtown to the Rice Hotel downtown. She cleaned up the people's rooms, cleaned their toilets. Okay, made up their beds. You know, she did all that for many years. Took that bus, came back. and took care of her kids. And, my mom didn't graduate from high school. My mom never learned how to drive. Okay, never learned. So, but that maid took care of nine kids. I'm one of those nine.
Can't do nothing but respect that.
Yeah.
But when you pass by the Rice Hotel as the mayor of the fourth largest city in America, and think of how my mother cleaned toilets in this place, and how in one generation your family goes from domestic work to mayorship. This is in one generation. Does that ever hit you? Do you ever does the miraculousness? I don't even know if that's a word, right? Look it up. Does that hit you when you pass by the Rice Hotel sometimes?
It, every time, and it never gets old. You know, from my mom, who was a maid at the Rice Hotel, and now her son, as the mayor of the city, now goes to the Rice Hotel to speak at the Rice Hotel. We had a banquet at the Rice Hotel, the whole function at the Rice Hotel. You know, that was my mom. And you're right. Every kid, especially sons, wanna please their mom. Okay, so you know, my mom, this maid. Now she was tough. Now,
Yes, sir.
don't get it wrong. She was. We only had one set of keys. One set of keys to the household in Acres home. Okay, my mom had that only set of keys.
Y'all had it was 9 of y'all.
9 and one set of keys. My mom would not give anybody else a set of keys. Mom said, "This is my house. One set of keys." Okay. And my mom said, because my dad died when I was 13. My dad died of cancer. Okay. So my mom was the head of the household. And my mom said, just like you treated your dad, you're going to give me the same respect. Okay. So my mom said, at midnight, everybody got to be in my house. Now, mind you, now I was president of the student council in high school. I was dating the captain of the cheerleader squad, and she and I were going to the prom.
Mm-hmm.
I invited her. She said, "Yeah, I'm going." Okay, and I came back to my mom. I said, "Hey, I'm going to the prom. Kathy, head of the cheerleader squad. That's my date, and I gotta go. Don't need a car to go to the prom." My mom looked at me. She said, "You need a car to go to the prom. You see a car in that driveway?" She said, "You see a car in that driveway?" No. She said, "When the last time you saw a car in that driveway?" I said, "Well, I gotta go to the prom." And she said, "Okay, y'all go and go." So I said, "Well, can we rent one?" She said, "You got a credit card?" She said, "When the last time you saw a credit card?" So I said, "Well, how am I gonna get there?" She said, "Well, you should have come and asked me before you asked Kathy." True story. So I said, "Well, what am I gonna do?" He said, "You gonna ask me that?" So I went and asked my best friend. He had his parents' car. So I told Lennox, I said, "Hey man, can we ride with you?" He said, "No, cool, no problem." And so I thought I had it squared away. So my mom said, "The same rule still applies at midnight."
On
She
prom
said,
night.
"At midnight, you need to be in my house, not on your way." I said, "That ain't gonna work." So anyway, I went on by the business. It's a true story. So I told Lennox, when we got to where we were gonna put the prom, I said, "Hey man, I got to be at home at midnight." He said, "What do you mean you got to be at home at midnight? You can't do anything like that. You can't come home at no midnight." I said, "Man, I got to be at home at midnight." So he said, "All right." So while we were at the prom, everybody hanging out, I act like I got sick. It's true story. So I said, oh man, I ain't feeling well. I said, I ain't feeling well. And I kept doing like this. I said, I ain't feeling well. So get past 11 o'clock. I said, I'm really not feeling well. So he said, okay, man, okay, bro, okay, bro. So we made home we got it about 12:15. And I told my younger brother, now look, if I'm running late, I'm gonna tap on the side window, come open the door. So about 12:15, I went around the side of the house. I tapped on the window. The porch light came on. I said, "Why am I gonna turn the porch light?" Door open. It was my mom. So mama said, "What time is it?" I said, "I told Lennox." I kept telling him. I said, "Ma, I kept telling him." She said, "Well, Lennox ain't my son. You my son." And when I say midnight, son, I mean midnight. So I had waved Lennox them. Yeah, hey, I'm cool. Go on about your business. But when that door closed, I said, "Oh hell!" I started crying before she started hitting.
Hey,
but that was my mom, you know. But I would tell you, it's that maid who everything we needed, she provided. And the only time my mom boarded a plane in her 91 years, she passed. But in her 91 years, the only time my mom boarded an airplane was to come see her son graduate from law school in Boston. That's the only time.
Sacrifice.
Yeah. And it was that maid. It was that maid when I needed my loan paper signed to go to school. The only person I knew who had good credit was that maid who believed in paying her bills. And when I took the loan papers to my mom and asked her to sign, now bear in mind she didn't graduate from high school. I don't say that in disrespectful sense. She said, Sylvester, what are you asking me to sign? And I said, well, there's some loan papers for me to go to law school. She said, okay, how much? And I told her. Now, my mom was a Christian woman who went to church every Sunday night. My mom said some words. I said, where did them words come from? But the bottom line, she says, Buster, now you know I can't sign no papers with that amount of money and run the risk of losing my home. And what about your brothers and sisters if you don't pay the loan back? Where they gonna live? Where we gonna live? So she said no. She said I cannot. She said you need to go to a place much cheaper. So I told my mom. I said, well, you said I could. I said you told your kids that they could be whatever the good Lord would have them to do. I said, Mom, that's what you told them. She said, I know. I told you. I said that to it. I meant that. But I'm not signing no loan papers with that amount of money. And so I said, okay, fine. You know. But 3 days later, when I came in, she said, you see your papers over there? I said, what papers? She said, those papers. So I went over there, picked up the papers, and she had signed.
So she bet on you.
She had signed.
She bet on you.
Yeah. So
it paid off.
Yeah.
So anybody who's ever worked with him knows that he's very seldom late for any kind of event. Now I know why you on time all the time. You got midnight stuck in your mind. Last question, Mr. Mayor. You being the mayor of the city, you have an aerial view. You looking down on the way, like the trends, the market trends, the way things are going. What job markets are growing and emerging. Speaking to young black males specifically, what do you think are some good industries for us to go into? Like, what does the future look like? If I were graduating high school and I was making a choice on what it is that I should study, what would be most profitable?
You know, right now, technology, and this generation knows more about technology than almost any of us. I mean, you all learn it at a young age. technology is where things are right now, where things are going. Kind of give you a point. If you go downtown on the what used to be the Sears on Main, that is now the what we call the Ion. That's the innovation hub between the innovation corridor between downtown and medical center. You need to take them to the Ion. Okay, we'll make sure the doors open. Just go and look around. That's the Ion. In East Houston is TXRX, Innovative Manufacturing. Okay, that has taken, and all of this has taken place in the 6 years since I've been there. Okay, so that right here, Bethune, we're getting ready to turn that into the Financial Empowerment Center at Acres Home. Okay, and it'll be technology. We'll be working with Lone Star. We're bringing in some other entities, and I shouldn't. Well, I'm going to say it. Bezos Academy, for example. We'll be opening up a free daycare Montessori school right there at Bethune. Okay, all of but technology. Just this week, I was at Ellerton Field at the spaceport. They're in the process of getting ready to build the necessary equipment to go back to the moon. They'll be landing on the moon 3 times over the next 3 years, creating about another 1,500 high-paying, high-tech jobs at the spaceport center. So technology. Our kids already know it. They grasp it real quickly. Let me tell you, that's where a lot of the openings are taking place. High-paying jobs, and then what we're doing, we're investing in brothers and sisters who want to have their own business, not necessarily having to work for somebody else, but entrepreneurs opening up your business, working with 50 cents at several of our schools. 50 cents is getting ready. He's taking 25 kids from 3 different high schools. It's a total of 75. And what 50 cents is doing in partnering with the city, he said, Mayor, you give me about 3 to 5 years, and some of these young men and women, I will make millionaires out of. And that's happening. Yeah. So we really are wanting to invest in community underrepresented, what we call founders, black and brown students, women in that technology area. That's where things are and where things are going.
Hey, listen, if anybody knows where the current is headed, where the money is him. So technology. Any parting words, man?
Well, look, I'm really listening to I was into books, let me tell you, though neither one of my parents graduated from high school, my mom and dad purchased books from anybody who came to the house. If they came to the house selling some books, they were buying those books. It was through those books that literally I traveled the world. I'll never forget that. I tell you this quick story. I'll be gone. We were in school, and the teacher asked us, after the summer, teacher asked us to write a report on our summer vacation. So I'm sitting in the classroom. So I said, summer vacation. I ain't go there. Summer vacation. So he said, I want to write a report on what your summer vacation. So I came home and I started flipping through those books. And I ran across this place, CK Good. So I just read about it. And then I wrote a report about my family hadn't gone to this place.
Oh,
okay. So I wrote it up. Turned it in. Week later, teacher comes with me all in class, and she said, I picked out 2 or 3. I picked out 3 of these reports. They were just exciting reports about what some of y'all did for the summer. She said, Sylvester, come on up and tell us about your summer vacation. I was reading your report, and I was sitting there, I said, I wish I could somebody tell me myself. So I went to the front, and I just started talking all about what I had read. Now I read it in the books, but I wrote my report on what I had read. Let me say this: for many kids like those who I grew up with. Number one, I grew up in Houston. I never went to Asheville with it. You know, no transportation. I wasn't catching no 2 and 3 buses before. Okay. So there are a lot of things that are in our city that many of our kids haven't even seen. We've got to expose them to those things that are in their city.
You ain't really got to go nowhere.
Because oftentimes for our students, for people in these neighborhoods, their world is only the world in which they see. And we gotta we gotta expose them beyond. So whether it's the books, whether it's through the internet in a positive way, we have to expose them. And then lastly, what I decided to do, what I've been working on for 7 years, is taking what OG once said, and I'm in the process of finishing up. There are 2 books to finish up one, and this one is entitled "The Boy from Nature's Home," the photo. And basically, it tells my story of growing up in the hood and still living in this hood. But the hood is not in me. So you can grow up anywhere, but it doesn't mean you are limited by where you are. And you'll find a whole lot of gems in the hood. And being in the hood is a good place to be. And I'll never forget, and I've said this before, my detailers here, but they know I've said it before. I'm not supposed to drive. And really, the only time I drive is when I'm sleeping, and I don't know I'm driving.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, that's what. But one Saturday, I decided, I was going to drive my own truck. But I got in, and I didn't have any gas, so I had to go to the gas station, right up the street, little yard, So I'm getting the gas, and here comes this brother walking towards me slowly. So he walks, looking at me. He walks past me, and he's going like this. And then he turns around, his brother, and starts walking back to me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, now what? Yeah. So he's walking towards. So I act like I put my head in my pocket, like I had something. I ain't have nothing in there. But I put my hand in my pocket. So he walks slowly to me, and he said, "Brother, he's a brother. Listen, I said, "Why you asking me?" So he said, "You sure?" He said, "You sure you want that money?" I said, "You think?" He said, "Bro, why you out here?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Where you live?" I said, he said, "Bro, you all right. Please come inside." Now, when I was 18, closing message from my mama said to me, it's made to reignite you. What she said to me, Sebastian, made, you don't have to school, you're the lawyer, you're the politician, and all that. She said 2 things. One, I never want you to sell my house.
Yes, sir.
Because your brothers or your sisters or my grandchildren, they may need a house, and I want this place to always be a place. So she said, number one, I never want you to sell your house. And then she said, and number 2, unless you have to, I don't want you to live too far. Because you have to be the sort of person that these brothers and sisters see. That they know that just like you came through here, they can come through here. And the best way to demonstrate that to them, you have to stay honest. So that's why I'm supportive of the Black Man Network. That's why I'm here. To let you know that you can be all that God wants you to do. And then one day you have to sit here and say and give that same message to others who are coming up. It's my turn today.
Give it up for Mayor Sylvester Turner.
Thanks, man. Love you.
Thank you. Beautiful words. Thank you. Come on, y'all can do better than that. All right, so we're going to go straight into our next presentation. This next presenter, let's give it up again for Mayor Sylvester Turner. I think it's very important that we bring positive black male role models in front of our children. I'm a firm believer that unless they see something different, they're not going to want to be anything different. And we cannot depend on television, radio, social media, or video games to put strong black male figures in front of our young boys. If we can't depend on them to do it, that means we got to do it ourselves. So shout out again to Mayor Sylvester Turner for stopping by. We're gonna go right into the next presentation. I bring to you Pastor E.A. Deckard of the Greenhouse International Church. My brother, give it up real loud and proud for him. Let me mic him up real quick. Yeah. Sure, I'm wrong. You doing it right, bro. Okay. Thank you.
Well, give it up again for our mayor, OG1. Now, Brother Derek and I go way back. We have a real relationship. We have a tradition. Every time we speak, we compete on who's going to say, I love you first. And I'm not sure about his love anymore. He put me behind OG1, himself, and the mayor. And that's a hard task to follow. So I'm excited today to be here, year 13. For the last 2 years, I've been missed because at a funeral, every time the black male super comes up, someone had been murdered that particular week, I do a funeral. But I'm so glad today I had no murder funerals. I could be here with my brother. So I'm excited to be here. Now, we've heard a lot of stuff so far, a lot of powerful information. Did you copyright this? Okay, I'm going to preach that. That's 7 gorillas. 7 gorillas in Greens Point. We're gonna deal with that concept. That's powerful. But I want to just share quickly today and briefly. I want to use my time to encourage and empower. Take all the information you've heard and put it in a way where you can use it. And I want to encourage you that everything you've heard, you can actually live out. So my topic today is it's time to get your it together and reach your full potential. Let me say it again. It's time to get your it together and reach your full potential. Now, somebody said, I thought they said he was the pastor. I did not curse. I said, get your it together. Because your it was given to you by God. The Bible says, the Bible is my final authority. The Bible says that we were created. God gave all of us a gift. I call that gift your it. And because God gave you your it, he gave you a platform, he gave you a tool, he gave you a skill, he gave you something to get you through this thing called life. And if you get your it together, you can reach your full potential. The gorilla cannot stop a man who knows what his it is. Once you have identified your God-given it, no gorilla, no monkey, nobody can stop you from reaching your full potential and being all that your God created you to be. So today I come to encourage you and motivate you and stimulate you to get your it together so you can reach your full potential and you will not be a victim of anybody's system. First thing I want you to do is discover your it. If you're young, discover your it. If you're old, claim, pursue your it. Because if your it came from God, it may be dormant, but it still exists. When you were created, God gave you an it. Now you must, as a young person, discover your it. as an older person, go and pursue your it. Am I making sense? Your it, so there's I grew up on the street called Crane Street in Fifth Ward. Something about chain link fence. But our God-given it has allowed us to travel the world. My it has taken me around the globe and back. My it. When I discovered my it was, I stopped letting other people's opinion dictate my roadmap and let my it drive me to my destiny. Let's pause for a second. We are all here today in this room, watching online and viewing because Brother Derek Muhammad knows what his it is, and he's working his it to a fashion to make a difference in other people's lives, leaving a mark that cannot be erased. Because of his it, we're here today. Let's give it up again for our brother Derek Muhammad. Once upon a time, a long time ago, somebody told him he'd never be anything, or he'd be like, there's no good this or that, but he discovered his it, and his it now has propelled him. Sometimes we sit in places and look around like, how the heck we get here? It's a long way in this boardroom from Crane Street. But our God-driven it has placed us now in places we could not have imagined of being in. Once you discover your it, now you have to work your it. And when you work your it will work out for you. As I said before, God gave it to you. God gave you your it. So I want you to understand you must have this thing called faith. And faith is threefold. My first level of faith must be I have faith in God. Because if God gave my it, I have to have faith in God. If God gave me my it, I have to have faith that God will give me wisdom. He will empower me. He will give me the strength to use my it to grow into my full potential. You heard the story. We'll never forget it. What looked like a monkey becoming a big old gorilla because it kept growing. Well, the same thing about your it. It may one day look small, insignificant, and useless, but if you keep working your it will grow up into a positive gorilla, and instead of it defeating you or breaking your back, it will take you higher and higher and higher. It's time to work your it to reach your full potential. If God gave it to me, if I have faith, God will give me everything I need to master my it. So I got to have faith in God, my creator. And we all will agree with that. No one really argue, debate having faith in God. But this is where a struggle comes in, OG1. I got to also have faith in myself. I cannot have faith in a God I cannot see and not have faith in the brother I see every day in the mirror. I got to have faith. That's the reason I got to have faith that when the Bible says I can do all things through him who strengthens me, I know the problem not with him. So I gotta have faith in me that I can actually work my it. I can actually allow my it to take me places I've never seen before. I may be the first one in my family to ever go there, but if I have faith in myself that the God who woke me up will empower me, equip me, and strengthen me, I can take my it and go wherever my it desires me to go. You gotta have faith in yourself. The devil, the enemy, is a real force. And if you don't have faith in yourself, you'll have what OG1 called low self-esteem. And when you have low self-esteem, it will take you low places. Get this. Because if you don't believe in you, then someone else will tell you who you are and what you cannot do. They never tell you what you can do. They always tell you what you cannot do. And if you don't have faith in yourself, you will follow their advice. So we must have faith in God. We must have faith in ourselves. And then, this is where religion kind of messes us up as the black people. Faith without works is dead. I can sit in my church. I can go to my brother's mosque. I can go to the synagogue. I can go to a religious building all day long, every day. But I don't work my faith. I'll do nothing but sit on it. And how many generations have sat in a building hearing about faith and never working their faith? So nothing happens. So now you lose your faith in God. in yourself and your possibility of your potential. So you must learn how to work your faith. And if you work your faith, again, the Bible, my final thought says, it shall happen according to my faith. So if I work my faith, whatever my dream is, my destiny, whatever my full potential is, if I work my faith, God is already predestined and laid it out for me. The best illustration I can give you, every time I travel, they give me a ticket. The ticket has the time the plane leaves, the time the plane will show up at my destination. No matter how I feel that day, the ticket dictates time of arrival to the airport, time the plane takes off, time the plane lands. No matter how I feel. And that's how life is. If I work my faith, it's been predestined my located time and destiny and arrival. If I don't work my faith, I worry myself to death. I sit around complaining, mama wasn't there, daddy don't love me, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too short, I'm too dark, I got nappy hair, I got good hair, all this foolish stuff. But if I work my faith, I can look in the mirror and say, I am who God created me to be. And when he created me, he gave me my it. And if I work my it, I can be like the mayor. I can go from the fofo to being the mayor of the fourth largest city in America. All your dreams can become your reality if you work your it. So watch this. If I work my it, I have no excuses. When I'm working my it eliminates all my excuses because my faith will allow my it to become my reality, so there's no room or place for excuses. But again, the devil, the enemy, he's going to do all he can to stop you. So they were called it the 7 gorillas. I want to lay out some D's for you. You know, the enemy desires to keep you from your it. The first thing he wants to do is to distract you. These are many distractions. He wants to distract you, throw stuff at you to get you off your it. So if I'm not working my it, I'm working something else. And you, what you said when you feel angry, you go work out. All three so you work out. Now, you go work out, you bench press, you run, what do? You work out. Play basketball. Ball in your hand. That's your goal down here. This is my goal down here. We compete one-on-one. We going at it hard. That's your goal. This is my goal. If you shoot the ball in this goal, who gets the point? And that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to get off your it and focus on my it, so it looks like you're doing all the work, but you get no benefit because you've been distracted. You're off your it, so you're working on somebody else's it. That's why the dope boy comes and gives you a freebie at first. Go work this block, young bro. That's why the enemy comes to distract you, to get you off your goal and on his goal. Now, you spend all your time usually working somebody else's plan for your life when it's your life. Not realize you've been tricked and set up because you've been distracted. You've lost your focus from your it. But when you discover your it, don't let nobody distract you or detour you. Next is detour. We're going somewhere. We're moving fast. We're traveling. But a detour takes you off your map, takes you off your journey. So I'm still moving. It looks like I'm doing well. I'm wearing name brand clothes. Everybody know my name. But that's not what God called you to do. OG1 says, going to a car dealership, became number one. But that wasn't it. Now, I know about the car business, so being in one means you make the money. You were bringing money home, and you were bringing cash money home. Side deals, insurance companies, bonuses on Saturday, for selling most units. But it wasn't your it. And until you discover your it, you would wake up feeling useless. Because money, cars, clothes, the house will ultimately not give you the satisfaction you need to wake up and say, today is a good day. All that stuff Because once you get it, now you're working for it, and you're not working your it. But once you discover your it, brother, it can be raining. I'll give you an example. Friday, after after Thanksgiving, we had a great time. My family Thanksgiving, we ate. Oh Lord, we ate. We played family game, had a good time. Stayed up all night. But Friday morning, I was unlocking my church off at 7 o'clock in the morning. So why are you doing that? Because my it. If somebody didn't eat like we ate on Thursday, they're going to show up because we feed about 1,000 people. Somebody's going to show up tomorrow, not knowing it's a holiday because they're better still home. And somebody got to be in place to feed them. My it says, get up, boy, and go to work. There's still work to do. Yo, it would drive. Some days you would not feel like going to work. Some days you would not feel like being the best you, but your it drives you and gets you up. So I ask the question, what's your it? Have you identified your it yet? Or are you still looking for it? You know your it yet? So what do you want to be? What do you want to become? What mark do you want to leave on this earth that even when you die, you're still alive? What's your it? Do you know it yet? You're an architect, so you will design some stuff. But after you're long gone, the stuff you designed, do what? It'll still be here. I couldn't have asked for a better illustration. That's what it is. It is like a blueprint. It's like an architect. I'm going to design something, and so I'm going to build something that when I leave the scene, it's still here serving its purpose. My it is bigger than me. Your it must be bigger than you. It must be bigger than you. So the devil wants to distract you. I'm going to preach now till my time up. The devil wants to distract you, detour you, depress you. Depression is big now. When we were growing up, we didn't know anything about depression. They say, oh, that's just spooky, he gets crazy. We didn't identify mental illness. But mental illness is real. But when you work in your it gives you gratification to overcome depression because the enemy tells you you are nothing, but your it tells you you are everything. You're a loser. That's the biggest lie ever told. Well, Pastor, I'm not good at much. You're still a winner. How do I know that you had to win to get here? Do you realize when your mother and father, who may have never spoken after that encounter, got together, a game was being played? There were a jillion sperm cells competing to get to the finish line first, and you maneuvered your way. You did something to overcome, to win, and to get out and get in your mother's womb. You were born a winner. You came out winning. Who told you? You're a loser now. You competed to get here, and you won to get here. And when you got in your mother's womb, God assigned you with it. Because that was a void in the earth realm. So God created you and gave you it to make a difference in this world. And at that point, the enemy, the devil, put your picture on the wall and said, let's go get him. And the darker your skin color, the more aggressive he got of getting you. If you call yourself black, I got to stop him. Because if I don't, they'll be like Serena and Venus. They'll be like Tiger. They'll be like the Jack. They'll take over if we let them. So we got to stop them first. By telling me nobody. But you came out winning. Keep on winning. You came out winning. Keep on winning. Let your it propel you to another level. You are a winner. You are a winner. You are a winner. Now, how about it? I'm a winner. I'm a winner. That's what I do. So then he wants to deny you. Tells you because the daddy ain't there, your mama ain't too smart. He wants to deny you, make you feel like you're not worthy to reach your full potential. But guess what? What the God has for me, can't nobody deny me. It said what God has for me, nobody can deny me. So stop letting folks define you. They didn't create you. And when God gave you it, He did not hold a conference call to discuss your it. He called you and said, I'm going to give you an it. It's called architectural skills. Now use it and change the world. Everybody in this room is a world changer. Because the world needs your it to show up. So God gave you an it, and he gave you to your mother. He gave you an it. Work your it. And I'll close with this. Decisions determine your destiny. I don't care who your mama is, who your dad is, how many folks told you were unwanted, unloved, no one cares, you can never be anything. Your decisions will determine your destiny. And you must decide today the gorilla will not trick you. If you got a cell phone, raise your hand. The books the mayor was talking about when he was growing up, they would go door to door, sell encyclopedias and dictionaries and books. They ring your doorbell. Now, no one's ringing your doorbell because it's right here. What does regentrification mean? Say again. I had to turn the phone down. What does regentrification mean? That's how fast I go. I'm moving fast, man. See, when you grew up broke, you move fast, man. What does depression mean?
What's that?
Anybody can see?
Depression means prolonged cruel or unjust treatment or control.
So now I'm not ignorant. I just learned something. I thought this was called my chick. She gave me a master's degree in a thing called life. And to work my it. And to learn everything about my it. So my it can take me around the globe and back again. I won't end up here. So work my it. And by chance, good God Almighty, the statistics say 3 out of 4 of us at some point in time spend at least 24 hours here. But once I get here, it cannot be the end of my story if I work my it. It now becomes part of my testimony platform how to stop you from getting me. So everything that goes on in life, if I work my it, it becomes a lesson and not a loss. So I want to challenge you this morning. Discover your it. Work your it. Have faith in your God that woke you up today on purpose with a purpose. You're not just here to be here. He woke you up on purpose with a purpose. Now discover your it and work your it and watch your it take you around the globe and back again. Remember, you came out winning. Your it gives you the ability to keep winning. Take this advice. I promise you, you'll look back and say, I am who God created me to be. God bless you all.
Man, come on, y'all can do better than that. Let's give it up for Pastor E.A. Deckard, encouraging us to get our it together. All right, we're about to prepare for our final presentation. Let this down. This goes down, right? All right, thank you all for your patience. And I want to bring before you my brother from another mother. He's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a former gang leader, keynote speaker. He wears so many hats that I can't even count them all. But this is my brother. I lean on him like a brother. We talk every day. It's good to have a brother that you can, go step by step and stand shoulder to shoulder with as you're going through life's trials. So if you ain't got a friend like that, find you one, get you one. But anyway, if you ever heard him speak, he's a dynamic brother. And we wanted to end our day hearing from the one and only Arthur Silky Slim Reed. Let's give it up for Silky Slim.
How y'all doing? There was a lot of things that was, yeah, there was a lot of things that was discussed that I paid attention to. Take a seat. I want to talk about that gorilla, at least two of them, that'll break your back. First of all, I'm going to talk about the gorilla that he said was the criminal justice system. And I want you to know, because I've been in that system for most of my life. The criminal justice system, listen to what I'm telling you closely, is a system that's appropriately named. It's a justice system that's being ran by a bunch of damn criminals. Anytime you have a judge in Rittenhouse trial that sits there and plays video games and hugs them, he's sending a signal to that criminal justice system. We run this. The hell what he did, we run this. And you can see by the results, well, you got him on a charge where we looking for him to convict him on carrying that assault rifle across the county lines into another state. What did he say? I'm throwing that out. And then he sits there with him and he puts his hands on him. If I take this young man, come here, young man, because you look kind of lazy there today. If I take this young man and I stand up with him like this, what am I doing? I'm signifying to you, I'm with him. And what? He with me. So first you got to realize, who are these people that's talking? These are the criminals that's running the criminal justice system. And when we go out and we fight for the life of young black males and brown males and anybody that's killed at the hands of law enforcement, we understand that we're against a criminal justice system. Now, what they do is that they will make others believe that you're the real criminal. You're just the people that's being fooled into thinking that you are a criminal. How do I know? Like OG1, 16 years old. I'm in the system. And it wasn't until I got in the system that I realized I was not the true gangster or thug that I thought I was. I can remember one day ducking work, and a white man rode around on a horse behind me. And I'm ducking work. I'm looking for him, and he behind me. And he said, Reed, he said, if I catch you not working again, I'll put a hole in you in the state or raise my damn pay. You hear what I say? He got that tobacco in his mouth. I said, yes, sir. But my heart was beating so fast. But it was a time when God was cutting on the light in my life. Because when I looked up from that ground, picking their vegetables and food like a slave, when I looked up at him on that horse and he had that white towel over his head and his cap on and that tobacco juice running down the side of his neck and his shirt was turning brown, I say, damn, man, I'm in slavery. And I left that day and went back on the compound and I was telling everybody on the compound, say, bro, man, we in slavery. You know what they say? Man, these people that broke that Negro. That Negro talking about we in slavery. Because if they condition you right, you won't even realize what condition that you're in. If they condition you right, you won't realize what condition you're in. So I'm 16 and I'm waking up in this condition and I'm happy to be there. I'm smiling like a fool. And I'm playing dominoes and looking at Yo MTV Raps and Rap City on VTV and all of these different things. But know what that was? Conditioning me to not realize what condition I was in. I went to the penitentiary recently and spoke. And some of the old timers that was there when I was there, they running. They Slim, man, what's going on? Good to see what you're doing, brother. But hey, check this out. It ain't like it was when you was here. And that was interesting to me. I said, well, tell me about it. He said, man, look at all these youngsters, man. And they ain't even got it hard. Ain't nobody trying to rape them. Ain't nobody. It's different. And I started checking out the scenery. And I seen somebody down on the walk with a radio. And while he got the radio, I seen two Negroes shooting dice. And then I seen two more talking on the other side of the walk. And I say, damn, you know what they did? They changed the condition to
fooled them about the condition they in. Now it looks more like a project instead of a prison. They hanging out on the walk. We couldn't hang out on the walk. And they realized that if we let these Negroes feel at home, it will become home to them and our job will be easier. They realized that. You can't get mad with them for that. That's smart movement. If we didn't have people that would insult you when you go to prison, you'll be comfortable in prison. I had a young black captain. He probably was about 26 years old. And they lined us all up. And the captain came out there with his little smart black self. He just walked out there all arrogant. He said, I want to thank all you, and he used the N-word, for coming. He said, because of you, I could buy my son that PlayStation that he wants. Because of you, I could buy him that bike. And I was so insulted by that, but then I started thinking about it. I say, he right. And Brother Derek, no, I got a son that's young just like you. Stay in jail. And I always tell him, Negro, you love being a slave. You buying somebody else's son a PlayStation, or you buying somebody else's son whatever it is that he wants because you keep your behind in jail. And then he say, well, Daddy, just send me $20. I say, Negro, I'm not sending you nothing. I say, because why would I pay for you to keep a system alive that I'm trying to bring down? That's like feeding that gorilla. If you know the gorilla is strong enough to break your back, why in the hell would you take him a whole bundle of bananas? Here, eat this before I go in. So when I'm talking about these gorillas that Brother Derek brought up, it kind of changed my shift on what I was going to speak about. The second gorilla that I want to talk to you about is disrespecting your mother. And when he said that a disobedient child, days shall be shortened. I had a homeboy, and his mother gave him away at birth. He was a hardcore, what we call gangster. And his mother was on drugs. And I can remember being in the hood, and his mother was coming down the street, and we shooting dice, and he started cursing, calling her the B word. You better go back, B, this, B. I said, man, who the hell are you talking to? That H who had me. I said, man, I would never talk to my mom like that, regardless to what it is. He said, that B know what she did. He had that much hate in his mother because she gave him away to his father at birth. But he wasn't looking at the blessing that his father had raised him, educated him. He was hurt by what his mother had did. And I said, man, well, you know what they say. I'm going to give you two instances of this. I said, a disobedient child should never see his days, bro. Man, F that. I said, okay. I left it alone. He got shot in the leg. In the leg. Now, if you get shot in the leg, normally you would say what? You'll be all right. But every time he took a breath, blood would shoot from his leg into the top of the operating room. Had hit a main artery. He passed, and I said, man, that day when he cursed his mama out, he condemned himself. I was coming down the street another day, and one of my homeboys out there, and his mama was so sweet. She said, baby, did you get your lunch? And, hey, take your F and such back in the house. That old B always, I say, boy, disobedient child won't see his days. Wasn't very long after that, he was found dead in the hood. So always honor your mother. It may not be the mother that you desire. Sometimes you might not be the child that she desires. So just honor her for giving you life, because they put their life on the line so that you can make it to where you are. They put their life on the line. Now, what's happening now with this younger generation? And let me make myself clear. See, there's an old saying that real what? Real recognize real. So I could sit here and look into the audience, and I could see those that's shifting and going off course. Let me make myself clear to you. I never walk into a room and come and try to assassinate your character. Some gotta go to no. I would never assassinate your character. I'm not the one to come here and say, look, bro, stop thugging. I'm gonna tell you the results of what thugging can bring you, but I ain't gonna tell you to stop thugging. I ain't gonna tell you to stop selling dope. That's not my job. My job is to tell you the consequences of selling dope. See, there's a dark world back there. And I realize that world because when you look at that picture and when you listen at your dictators tell you that that's an all right world. And see, these devils, and when I say these devils, I'm not talking about no devil that's under the ground. I'm talking about the ones that sit behind desks and wear suits and orchestrate what you see and what you hear on the radio. There's a commercial. Says, come to Motel 6, I'll leave what? The light on for you. They advertising that I have a place that you could lay your head if you're on the road and that you could get you some rest. Now, that advertisement brings them millions of dollars. But there's another motel that don't advertise nothing but stay full. That's the penitentiary. Now, what happens is that it's being advertised every single day, but because you look at it as entertainment, the seeds that's being dropped in your head by these dumbass rappers, telling you it's okay to kill each other, telling you about selling drugs, telling you about Molly's and Percocets. They're dropping seeds in your head that grow over a period of time and have us walking around as one of the dumbest individuals in the nation today. When I look at the generation, I was with a young lady, and we pulled up to the store. She said, whoa, Slim, you getting out? I said, yeah, why wouldn't I get out? She said, you don't see how they out there looking with their pants sagging and stuff? I said, baby, them ain't nothing but clowns. They've been programmed to look like that. Because if they knew the true knowledge of why the pants was sagging, then they wouldn't have their pants sagging at all. When I went to penitentiary, you couldn't wear your pants sagging. The ones that had their pants sagging was because somebody had already been in their behind. So they had to wear their pants sagging to show what was for sale. Little bitty butts, 7 books of stamps, big old booties, 8 cartons of cigarettes. It was a slave trade for sexual activity in the pen. We look at it, and the OGs like OG1, an individual that's been in the penitentiary say, oh man, them boys back there flip-flopping. You out here, and what are you calling it? Hip-hopping. It's not by coincidence. It's not by coincidence. Then you take the word sagging, S-A-G-G-I-N. Turn it backwards. That's who sagging, niggas. Because you've been programmed to be that way. Listening to the dumbest music that you could listen to. No other culture profits off of their suffering but us. If you got a message that could change the condition, they don't even put you out. As long as you're dumb and ignorant, they'll give you a few coins while they sit back and get rich. And then when you start talking like that, those that benefit from it, the ones and the twos, think about that. It's only the ones and the twos. So out of the whole industry, you may know 25 rappers while millions of others suffer about what they're talking about. While hundreds go to the graveyard every single day. Hundreds go to the graveyard every single day. They make a profit and you stay in the condition that you're in. It's designed like that. How do I know? I've been through it all. I've worked in programs where changes were made and the chancellor of the school come and sit me down and he say, Silk, you see those old houses down there in the bottom where you from? I said, yeah. He said, do you think all of them should be knocked down? I said, oh, no, that's a good thing that you're asking me now. I said, because some of them could be remodeled. He said, that's right. He said, now let me tell you about what you're doing. You're making change, but look, you have to always be working. He said, so look at it as remodeling a house. As long as you keep remodeling a house and you're a contractor, you have what? I said, a job. He said, okay, but if you fix them all and then there's nothing to fix, what happens then? You know, it don't work. So it's socially engineered that the conditions that you're in will always be around because it keeps somebody with a job. Meaning that some people just don't have the passion to change what's going on in the world today. So let me start this because I'll be on that subject all day. Those two gorillas I'm talking about, though. Can y'all dim the lights on? It's a perfect picture. So you got a blood here and a crip here. You got a blood on one side and a crip on the other side. Now, if you look at them close, what's wrong with them? Both of them the same person. That's how it is when we're out there killing each other. If I see you, I got to see you as my brother, not as my enemy. But the rap songs that you're listening to today, all of them talking about what? The op. Oh, if I catch the op slipping, I'm going to bust his head. If I catch the op slipping, I'm going to leave him dead. The op that you're looking at is not your op at all. The real op is sitting back saying, boy, we got him, don't we? Look, and we getting paid off of it. Creating an atmosphere of death for you. They got children that sit back. I know because my son definitely was not a gangster. But you can't tell him that now. And I'm going to use one guy as an example. Little guy in the hood, very good kid. Most people thought he was going to be gay when he was coming up. And I always used to hang out with him. And we would play all kind of games, and I always was one that did different things in the neighborhood. So I would barbecue. And people would come around, and they would see him. And I would make him just, I say, tell him what I got. Silky Slim got that secret sauce. I was just, man, you gonna have that boy gay? I said, man, leave him alone. He always sung a song, Silky Slim got that secret sauce. I seen him on the interview recently because now he's a rapper. And they said, well, where you been at? He said, oh, I was in Angola, DCI, Hunts, Wade. He named every prison in Louisiana. How in the hell you was in every prison in Louisiana in 2 years' time? See, rap is so fake till they sell you anything. And I'm looking at the comments. Boy, that's a real one. I say, that showed me how unreal the world is. Nobody's fact checking for it. Because don't nobody care about your life. If you don't care about your life, nobody else should. I tell people all the time when we go out to protest and we go out when a police officer kills somebody, when we go to all these places, I tell people all the time, I say, let me tell you something. Because we big right now in the protest scene. Black folks big. Other folks that start joining in, everybody screaming what? Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black lives will never matter if it don't matter to black people first. So it matter because a police officer done killed you, but even these dumb rappers and some Negroes from the hood that's out there killing every day, they out there, no justice, no peace. It will put you to sleep tonight just for looking at them wrong. So I tell people, it's almost like some black folks say, yo, no, I ain't want that white man to kill him. I want to kill that nigga. It's almost like that now when you got killers out there talking about no justice, no peace. And we can't be hypocrites for the rest of our lives with this. We'll never see the change that we want to see if we don't start changing ourselves. So I don't like calling celebrities. If they ain't out there fighting for social justice already, what in the hell I'm going to bring him up there and sit him on the stage for with me? When I'm out there in the trenches putting my life on the line for others. When we look at it, here, you have all of these entertainers. You got Gucci Man, Rick Ross, what's her name? Huh? Yeah, Tricky Minaj. Got all the young girls tricked up. And Lil Wayne, and this one is Boosie Badass. So you got all of these. Now you got this wicked demon up here who's already devoured Biggie and Tupac, but he's trying to get the rest. And you got Strange because they're being used as puppets in a world that is designed to tell, lie, vision you. That's all they do is tell lies through the television. and they program your brain, and then you start acting other than yourself. And when we go to schools right now today, you ask the kid, what he gonna be? I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm gonna be this. Nobody's trying to be lawyers, doctors. I ain't heard nobody say they want to be a mayor in school yet. Everybody want to be what's being programmed into them. And if it's not that, I'm play for the NBA. I'm gonna play for. We need lawyers, doctors. Do you know how I feel when I have to go sit down and somebody other than somebody that looks like me is in my mouth? Especially if it's somebody that's traditionally been an enemy of mine, sticking a needle into my mouth. And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I'm praying, Lord, look, I know you're real. Please don't let this be COVID. Please don't let this be AIDS. Because when you look at the newspaper, there's a dentist that was in Las Vegas that was injecting his patients with AIDS. And most of them was what? Black individuals. So when you're talking about somebody that don't even want a black male to exist, they'll go to extreme means to make sure that you don't exist. Oh, it's a scary world to live in. It's a scary world to live in. When you got somebody that studied telling you, look, make sure you get vaccinated. I say, look, you pushing that too hard. They're pushing it too hard. They say, well, if you don't get it, you're going to be dead. I say, well, look, I was dead before. 3 days later, I rose again. So I'm not buying into a lot of the stuff. Not telling you that it's not real. It's real as hell. But just like they did at Tuskegee, when they went and gave black males syphilis, you don't know if we back there again or not. And look, back then, you had weak-minded Negroes that was listening to them and seeing them walking on the sidewalk and get off the sidewalk. And they was trying to kill them then. What in the hell you think they'll do to you when you got big balls now and you standing up looking at them crazy? They ready to get rid of you because they fear you. The problem is that you don't value your life enough to realize exactly what's going on around you. So you get programmed. And this is a homeboy of mine, little baby. And if you go do research, because a lot of this is documented, we was on Bishop T.D. Jakes' show together. He was at a red light, and he was a gangbanger. And he got shot in the face. And when he got shot in the face, they up on the car, and the baby in the back seat crying. And the demon looked in the back seat, pow, shot the baby. And what's sad about it is that it wasn't a long period of time. I'm thinking maybe 2 weeks when he come out of this coma. And we're sitting on the stage, and T.D. Jakes is asking this question. You know, how did you feel when you seen your baby died? How did you feel? And he say, I don't know how to feel. I realized then, man, this man hasn't even grieved the death of his child, but because they want that $1 million shot that will shock the world, they got to sit in front of a television camera. And you walk away and you feel good because you say, man, this is such a powerful man, and he's doing these television shows about violence now in the chat, but the television shows about violence only lasted for that one episode. Trickery within our own ranks. See, and so many people, because, you know, I respect all men of God, but I'm also a knowledgeable man of God. I read the Bible and I read the Quran and I read different books about educating you on religion. And in each one of those books, they say some will be from me and some will not be of me. Say some got me on the mouth but not in the heart. And when you look at the situation, we got a whole bunch of people in the pulpit and very little change outside of the church doors. So they got some pastors, they say, well, he talks good, but he's kind of at war with pastors because no, I don't always just talk about pastors. I talk about the change that I'm trying to bring about in the world. What's stopping that change? The devil. Now, it's not my fault that the devil has transformed himself to look like an angel of light, and sometimes we might find him in the pulpit. Sometimes we might find him acting like he's bringing the word, but only is trying to get something out of your pocket. And the book says, because once I started reading the book, and I was in prison when I started that, the book said, well, there's a good shepherd and a hireling, I think they call him. And he said the good shepherd will put his life on the line while the hireling will run off. So that's why you don't see a lot of preachers in the street like you see Decker in the street. They run off. These are hirelings. Beware of the hireling. So this young baby was killed. This young man was killed. And I know all of these people is what's so sad about this presentation. Now what I want to show you is that, take a look. When you look at this picture, he looks what? Exactly like some of you young men, because he's the same age as you young men. The same age. There's no age that will keep you from, when you're in the streets, it's danger. And Brother OG once said, it's one letter difference between anger and danger. Anger is what will put you in danger. You have to be careful, because you got fools out there that's representing something that they don't even own, a hood. See, and you just wander off into that lifestyle and don't know the dangers of that lifestyle. And they will take you out. You got people in Chicago and different areas. They don't own the hood. And I heard somebody talk about gentrification. I think it was Pastor Decker. Gentrification without education is a damn assassination for the black man. Because now I'm taking a group of hustlers from the south side to the east side, and we be damned if you come over here and hustle. So now war breaks out, and many bodies fall before they can even try to get it under control. You have to know what's going on. But it's all a part to exterminate the black male. Here's one, pants sagging, but brains blown out. This is a deaf lifestyle. Ain't no easy way to bring this to you. I'm glad that Brother Derek gave y'all some sweet water and OG1 gave you some real medicine, because now I'm here to talk about what's really happening out here. No sweet way. That's what's happening now. We've been sweetening things up too much. Ain't no sweet way. And one of the things that I recognized when I went to speak in the prison system, they had a youngster came up to me. And he said, hey, Sippy Slim, you probably don't remember me. And I say, where would I know you from? Because I see, he's not a man. And I see something that happened to him. And he told me who he was. And he was a real killer. And I said, wow, man, what happened? Sippy Slim, I think it was always in me, and that's why I was so violent. No, you ain't had your damn gun. So when you get in there and you ain't got your gun in, you scared to use that knife. See, that knife, that's a hell of a tool to use. That knife is, whoa, that's hard to use. That gun, you could just stick it around the corner and shoot 100 shots and knock everybody down and don't see nothing. But that knife, you got to get up on them. It's a personal deal with that knife. That's why when you see most people that's killed by that knife, they say, wow, we've never seen a crime scene like that before. It was personal. But that gun, a coward could use that gun at any time. A coward could use that gun at any time. And when I look at that, I say, well, he just ain't had his gun in here. But he lived the rest of his life in penitentiary as a sex slave now. You don't know what it's like to have somebody that's 275 pounds exercising every day. You bring your little puny behind in there from smoking blunts and you fresh off the street. We run in the yard every day. We ain't long. So get you in there and look and scope you out. Say, you know what you need to get into, young man? Man, you don't need to be running all that foolishness. You need to get in the box. and they train with you a couple of days, then get you in that ring and whoop on you. You, hey man, you ain't ready for that. And then right when he getting out the ring, saying, "What you gonna do? You gonna choose your man or what?" You ain't ready for that. I done seen it happen. I done seen the devil in raw form sitting back in the cell, and you come in there scared, and the first thing that you got in your hand is your Bible. You got your Bible in there. How much time you got? 20 years? Man, you need to be down there in cell 16. That's the Christian cell. And then you sit there and they read the Bible with you all day and all night. And then at 10 o'clock and sometimes at 1 on the weekend when that cell door slam, cling, cling, I be at the board like this here. Because there's that, get out from clothes. Oh, Lord, what you doing? Nigga, every time you talk about the Lord, I get hard. And it's on then. They not telling you this in a rap song. They glorifying the foolishness in a rap song. So you have to be smart enough to stay out the trap. They come out there the next morning, everybody know what happened. It ain't Charles no more, it's Charlene sitting down. And it's just, man, it almost drove me crazy when I realized the world that I had subjected myself to. A whole man walking around with bikinis and Kool-Aid on his lips. And they acting like they married in there. The biggest day they got in the pen is the 4th of July. Give you half a watermelon. You go out there and walk, and sometimes you get confused. Lord, I thought I was in penitentiary. They got them up there with the pants on so tight, just strutting. I used to have to catch myself sometimes. Hey, boy, wake up. You got to get out of here. Because you will go to sleep in a condition where you become comfortable in. Never subject yourself to foolishness. This is taking over. Gang banging. I spent 33 years of my life gang banging. That's 33 years that's lost. Lost. OG1 was telling you right when he talked about the fentanyl. It's taking us out every day. Little kid in my neighborhood, always popping lower tabs. Went got a lower tab, didn't know it was pressed fentanyl. His brother and them still crying today. See, that's how the enemy has tricked it all up. When he talked about marijuana, I just had these conversations last night. He talked about marijuana laced with fentanyl. Now, let me tell you how that really is. Because fentanyl is an expensive drug that make a lot of money like heroin. So when you put fentanyl on marijuana, it's like taking a diamond, sticking it inside of a coal and selling you a 50-cent piece of coal with a $10 million diamond in it. It just don't make sense. But that lets you know that somebody is out to kill you by any means. So now you smoke a blunt and don't realize that it was laced with fentanyl and you dead. I can remember going in the hood recently, seeing somebody beating on the chest of one of my friends. And I jumped out the car and we had these little packs that you put in the nose that'll bring you back from this opioid. And I put it in his nose and he came back. And he said, "Boy, Slim, man, I almost died." I said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "You lucky we had this, because I go to the fire station, we get it and keep it on us just in case we run into a situation like that." I was happy I saved his life. You know where he at? Still dead because his ass didn't learn. Still dead. Went right back to it and nobody had nothing to say when this time. Somebody was out there talking to him. One of my homeboys was talking to him. "Boy, you better shake back, boy. You ain't looking too good." Left him out there and he died. Ignorance will kill you. Ignorance will kill you. All of these gang members, most of these are dead, except the one that I want to point out. Him. He's a lawyer. This is a Houstonian right here, Bushwick Bill. But when you live in this life, this is one of the most dangerous lives that you could ever live. I wouldn't tell anybody to live this life. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, he like money. Money is the root of all. Money is not the root of all evil." You absolutely need money. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Don't fall in love with it. Because once you fall in love with it, you'll put your life on the line to get it. The love of money. Don't fall in love with the money is what I can tell you. And when you see all of these instances where people portray that, most of us live like this. Now, what I could never figure out, and it hurts me today, and I still see it go on today. I used to live in Sugar Land. Big house, 6,800 square foot home out there. But when I went back to the hood, mama was in a regular ass shack. I don't understand. And I see it today. Millions of dollars. I know a guy, he's a millionaire, and when I go to his grandmother's house, the roof falling down. I see it every day. We riding in Cadillacs, mama in a regular. I see it. Now, with me, my mom was a little bit different. My mom was one of them strict moms. Don't bring that devil stuff up in here. I don't, baby. Look, right now, get the hold on. They run the devil off. Lay hands on me. I walk out looking like I've been in a popcorn pop with so much grease on me. We're going to get them demons out of him. My mama was really, they talking in tongues. I ain't understanding nothing they said. And look, I get in my car and feel bad. Because I done seen them in there, and they done laid hands on everybody in the church. They done fell out, and I ain't fall out. I said, boy, I must really be demonized. You know? So my mom wouldn't accept none of the foolishness. Point blank. Now, they got some mamas, and I want to get that message to those mamas because I see a lot of those mamas. They got some mamas that may walk in and see their son counting some money and say, oh, Lord Jesus, what you doing? Mama, I swear, I've been selling a little dope. I was going to give you that $500 for the light bill. I was going to buy me a car, and I was going to chill out. But give me the $500, and don't you go back out there and say, can't do that. Because now you open the door up. And now I see you over the casket crying. My baby ain't never did nothing to nobody. My baby. You were selling dope. And with that comes evilness, especially in this heroin and fentanyl game. They will kill their own mama to get the next hit. So stay on course with that. Now, these are somebody, I see everything that I'm talking about already been talked about. That's what make it so real for you. This original trap house. Trap house means that we in there selling dope, and because we ain't got no way out, because we done boarded it all up with burglar bars and everything, where it's a fortress. The police can't even get in there. It's a trap house. Garbage ain't even taken out. It's the damn trap house. And we started making music inside the trap house, and they call that what? Trap music. Now, what you don't realize is that if you listening to trap music, it's actually conditioning your mind to go get in the trap. I'm going to sell me a little dope, because that's all we talked about. I'm going to carry my gun. So trap music puts you inside of the trap. You can't put garbage in your head and expect knowledge to come out. You put garbage in, you're going to get trash out. Point blank. You got to put the right things in your system. This is me at a very young age. These were the weapons of my age when I was coming up as a juvenile. So you had the Tech 9 and the Colt 45. This is me as an adult age. You got what they call the chopper, and you got the Desert Eagle. And that was because I ain't had nobody for to sit down at a blackmail summit and tell me nothing. I was speaking at a law enforcement convention, and they was like, well, if you could change just one law, what would it be? I said, I wouldn't allow children that's 12 and under to go see their parents in jail. They thought that was awful. They say, why? I said, because I can't tell you what it's like to pull up at a penitentiary and look at some trees that say LSP, which stood for Louisiana State Penitentiary, and I'm a little boy sitting in the back of the car talking about, wow, alphabet trees. At home, mama on dope and sold all the food stamps. I ain't ate, but when I get to penitentiary where he at, I can eat anything I want in the visiting shed. See? In the hood, it's dirty, but everything in penitentiary is so clean and beautiful. I felt like penitentiary was a better place than home. So I wouldn't allow my children to go see me when I was in the pen. The hell with that. I knew what I had went through psychologically. Now, this would draw you. All of this material stuff would definitely draw you into a lifestyle where you're looking to be accepted. One of the things I learned with all the cars and all the houses and money, when I lived in Sugar Land, they had a white man that stayed next door to me that worked for Imran. And we used to go out and talk. And one thing that I realized, none of this brought status to me. I was just a black man that lived next door to him. Just a black. Sometimes he say, "Hey, Bubba," I say, "Hey, don't call me that. I know what the hell that means. I'm from the South." "Oh, I'm sorry, bud. I ain't gonna respect you because you got this foolishness." And most of us, when we get big money, we go out there and be a damn clown. You walk around with Gucci and Fendi on. It's okay if that's how you want to spend your money, but it don't add value to you. I used to go home and take out the 40,000 Rolex watch, put it on the damn dresser, and cry in the mirror, asking God, what was this for? Dressed up mannequins is what you become. And you can't fool the world because regardless of what you got on your feet, on your back, or on your wrist, if you ain't got nothing in your damn head, you still are nothing. It ain't about no damn bank account. It ain't about no bank account. I sit down right now today with some of the best intellectuals in the world and talk to them, and I'm uneducated. But what? I picked up that damn book, and I kept reading the books. Right now, there's no, with this hurricane thing, something happened to my house, and my furniture and everything got moved out my house. But when I ran into the house, the only thing that I was looking for was my books, because whatever material thing I had there, I could replace from the knowledge that I had got in me that got it there in the first place. If you don't have nothing up here, a gold and a platinum brain don't mean a damn. A gold and a platinum chain don't mean a damn thing. It's about a gold or a platinum brain that will change everything. I'm telling you, I'm giving you some jewels today. And it might be because it might be my last day seeing you. You got to take your life serious enough, value your life. And then you'll see exactly what I'm saying. What time is it, Brother Derek? I got 10 more minutes. Do I have 10 more minutes? Okay. So these material cars mean nothing. And as you can see, I once had all gold teeth. Yeah, that's me. I once had all gold teeth. And what happened, I'm going to tell you a story. I went to eat with a millionaire, and he had his grandson there. So I'm talking to his grandson's talking to me. And at the end of the dinner, he said, Reggie, what do you think about Silky? I say, "Oh, Papa, I think he's real nice. But I was afraid of him at first." He said, "Why?" "Those gold teeth are always, I relate that to bad people." I say, "Why?" He said, "Because every time I see it on TV, those guys are bad, they have guns." He's talking about the rappers. I understand what he's talking about perfectly. I say, "Wow." So, you know me, I come up with something. I say, "Well, look, I'm not a bad person, but when I get that money your papa got, I'm going to get these teeth taken out." And he said, "Oh, well, that'd be great." Now, I had to put myself in the trick bag because that was on a Friday. Monday, the Pawpaw's secretary called me and said, "Can I speak with Mr. Reed?" I say, "Speaking to him." She said, "Mr. Reed, do you have a pencil?" I say, "Hold on, let me get one." I wrote down the number. I said, "What is it?" She said, "Write this number down." I wrote the number down. I said, "What this for?" She said, "Oh, all of your dental work has been paid for. All you got to do is go." Now the Negro kicked in on me. I just got these girls. The Negro kicked in. Do I want to take them out? So I had to reason with self. I said, "Well, one day I'm going to warn them out." And it was a lot of money. When I tell you, they charge you like $2,000 per teeth to take it out. I was like, I ain't going to want to spend that kind of money. I just was to get it did then. So 48 hours worth of surgery, and that's why I look like I do today, as God made me look in the beginning before I would clown myself up. So these are weapons. This is what the young man, the white boy that Derek said Rittenhouse had, this AR-15. And this is the gun of choice. Now, what happens is that they give you high-powered weapons in the ghetto to make sure that you take yourself out. That's the bad part. So, here, this is programming your child for failure. This is pure ignorance. And I got this off of Facebook. This is pure ignorance. Now, look, he got a blunt in his mouth. This is the society that we're creating for our young people. This is bad. This is bad. Now look, I seen it over here. OG, what you did with that? That gun you had like this? Oh, it was up under there? Oh, Brother Dave said something on top of it. Now look, same thing right here. Look, ain't that coincidental? But look, he got a play gun in his hand, but that look on his face let you know what? If it was real, I'd knock your brains out. Because he's listening at the wrong things. They training them to go and kill somebody that looks just like him. The music is. He thinking about the op. In his mind, he already got an op. Look at that look on his face. And he's a baby. So imagine to what it's doing to those that are already in the street. Now, we got to do better with our little girls. We definitely got, and that's why I say Nicki Minaj got your little girl tricked out. Yeah, the entertainment is cool, but the message is so damn bad. I was on tour, getting paid pretty good money, and I got kicked off the store for talking about this. Because I come up in the old country, Louisiana, and as a little boy, we go in the bathroom, and our grandmother's underclothes was hanging up for the dry over the heater. We got hit upside the head with something, not just with something. You know better than go in that bathroom without asking me. Those old folks had shame in their game. Our black women have lost all their shame. I'm a country boy. I used to raise pit bulls. And I got a girl dog. When she come in heat, she would take her tail and cover her neutered parts. Today, we walk around with our neutered parts uncovered. And when I started talking about that, one of the brothers said, hey, man, you can't compare our black queen to no female dog. I said, what in the hell do they call themselves? The bad what? And when they call themselves the bad bee, that's exactly what a female dog is. So why in the hell we can't talk about it when they call it to themselves all day? If you don't talk about it, they won't realize the mistakes they making. But because we're in the field and we're just like pigs, we love the slop. So you can take a pig and you can wash him up and clean them up and take them and put them in a contest and he come out with a blue ribbon on the side. And then you go over there and talk to your boy and say, yeah, man, my pig won. And your boy laughing. You say, what's funny? He say, look where your pig at. Right back in the slop. That's just like us going to church on Sunday and then walking around with lingerie on out in the hood on Monday. Clean you up, but you go right back to the mud. It's rough. It's rough. So what happens now is that we see this influx of killings that Brother Derek talked about. And it's not just in Houston, it's all over the world. We stay busy with this. My 15-year-old cousin told his mama, I said, hey, you got to get him. He out there where this real ass, he a goon. I ain't worried about nobody messing with him. Pissed somebody off, shot him right behind the ear. All of this killing is horrible. 15 years old, now look, brains over here, but because, and this young man was a schoolboy that had never been into gangster activity, but his brother was a thug. So they came around there shooting. He tried to run, the bullet caught him in the head. That's the dangers of it. Jackals. They made it famous in the rap song. And they started, and when they said goon, I knew the real goon squad. So they put that gun behind your head and blow your face off. So he's getting repaired for his funeral, and I knew him. See? Girls, they get it too. And I know this is rough for you young men, but I want you to remember if you go out there and take your life for for granted. I want you to remember, you've been warned already. That's how it be. That's why I say some got to go to know. Somebody in here going to say, man, I ain't like that stuff. And they going to turn their life around. Somebody in here going to say, man, I ain't thinking about what that fool was talking about. But when he's on that ground, gasping for air after somebody to put one in his chest, I want this day to come back to him so he won't be able to say he wasn't warned about it. That's how important this is for me. This is what kind of damage is done with this chopper. Let me wrap this up. Let me go back right there. I gotta go right here. You see teeth right here? I got a homeboy that was in the hood. And he had degrees. He used to go to college. He had graduated, had a good job. You know what he was? A side hustler. So late at night, you could call him and say, hey, man, I need 5 birds. I need this. I need that. And he had delivered. You know what happened? He went back into his house one night, and they was waiting on him. Somebody from the hood, one of our homeboys, and blowed his face off. That's the dangers of the streets. And you end up here, where me and OG1 have been, in that 5x7. And that's where a lot of light get cut on in the 5x7. A lot of light get cut on in the 5x7. You know why? I'm writing a book, and in the book I said that in the dungeon, whether it's the dungeon of your own dirty mind or a dungeon in a dirty penitentiary, you find yourself. So I started reading, and I came across a paper. It's called A Final Call. I said, boy, it's pretty interesting. But if I hadn't picked up that paper, and if I hadn't read about bettering myself and knowledge of self, I'd still be in the mud. I'd still be a pig. I'd still be a swine. Something had to clean me up. And since 1996, I never stepped back into the penitentiary. Since 1996, I never wanted to go back because I realized it's slavery. I realized it's where all of the filth and garbage is housed at. I want to be better. And I came home, and I tell Brother Derek all the time, I say, sometimes you can come and you could do things and you could act like you know what you're doing, and you wind up in a situation where you never know how you got there. So what happened is that I started being in the activist world, and I started working on these cases where police get killed. And before you knew it, I was hired and was working for the #1 civil rights law firm in the nation. And sometimes I sit there and I say, wow, how did I get here? It's because God had a plan for me. And when Pastor talk about finding your it, don't let somebody else dictate what your it is. So that's why you see these little kids looking like Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj on Halloween. They want to be like them because they have been traumatized in the hood, and now they're looking for a way out. And because this is the only way out that they are being shown, you feel like you got to be like somebody else. Don't waste your time marveling over somebody else's greatness and forget to look for yours, black man. That's the problem of the world today. I got parents ignorant enough to bring, oh, he gonna be the next such and such. I say, no, let him be greater than him. He gonna be the next. No, let him be greater than them. Whatever you see in front of you today, try to be more greater than what you see. A kid right here, no tattoos, real good individual. And when I met him, I really didn't care for him because he asked a lot of questions. And he listened to all this gangster stuff. And he was never a gangster, but he listened. And he took everything that he heard and he started writing music to it. And today, that young man that's sitting right there, that used to be my little mentee, his name Kevin Gates. But he tells you a fake story about being a gangster, why he puts seeds in your mind about going to penitentiary and he haven't even been there his damn self. That's the world that you live in. That's the world that you see. And these individuals are mannequins. Look, right here. Young man. Good young man. Wasn't no gangbanger, dope seller. But sell you the lies. Sell you the lies. And I tell everybody, hey, ain't no need of speaking on it. If your mic ain't big enough, ain't nobody gonna hear you. But I feel like telling you today because no telling who in your ear when you go and put on that doggone devilish foolishness. It's time for the wake up. I'm gonna be swift with this. Here's your so-called Boosie Badass. And I'm gonna show you a picture that I really like to show. Would be this one. Because one day it all will come to an end. You can't play it out forever. And even though when he fell into these charges, even though he walked away free, mentally he's enslaved every day and locked up in prison. When you see him on Instagram, God damn it, turmoil. Because morally, you know exactly how it is. Morally. Young boy Marlo Mike taking advantage of it, 13 years old, giving pennies, $2,500 to kill somebody. That's pennies. That's pennies. Cut that light on, brother Dick. I'm gonna wrap this up. Give y'all two things and I'm out. Oh, this is rough today. I got so much stuff to share with you, but I'm just share these two things. Here's my best friend right here. This is my best friend. Can you read, young man? What does it say right here? What does it say? Death row. Death row. Now, I'm gonna share something personal with you. This, I don't even know when he wrote me this letter, but when he wrote it, 2013, I was making a change. And he said, Silky, what's up? I'm sorry about your mother. My mother had just passed. He said, I talked to Kiki and told him to call you and give you and the family my regards. I feel your pain. I lost my mother as well. It's hard for me to come to you for help. I don't think it's my pride. It's the fact that I was not speaking to you when I was on the streets, and I effed up when I did that. This have happened many times before that you're not tripping on, though, and I'm trying to go on with this and not trip as well. Slim, I need your help. So what had happened is that when he came home from the penitentiary, I had made my change. And show you how a devilish mind will come. He say, man, look, I see you doing your thing, man, but I know you run into some of the white folks, bro. You let me know where they at, and I'll go and get the hustle, and I'll break you off half. I said, no, man. I said, God really changed my life, bro. I said, I'm not faking. And he went around, man, that nigga think he white, bro. See how he always on TV with them folks? He think he white. He started a campaign. And then he came to my house and was talking to my brother. He was washing his truck. And he said, I hit a lick for 30,000 on last week. I got some coming up. I said, man, if I was you, I wouldn't mess with that, bro. And then one of my other friends came and seen him. And I've never seen nothing like this before. The warden of Louisiana State Penitentiary was Burl Kane. When my friend seen him, my friend say, man, how you did that? And he say, did what? He say, man, you got Burl Kane head on your body. He say, man, how the hell you did that? I say, man, don't play with him. He say, no, man. He say, I'm telling you, this Negro got Burl Kane head on his body. When he heard that, it was God giving him two warnings. Know what he did? Went out there and tried to do the hustle, and he ended up well. On what? Death row. And I tell him, you can't deny God gave you a message. Anytime I heard Burl Kane, you know what I did? Lord have mercy, please don't let me go back to penitentiary. I'm scared of the name because it reminds me of where I could end up at. Next letter. This is 2001, before the change. And the reason why I titled my speech today as Is It Worth It? My mama wrote me this letter, who's now dead. And my mom said, Dexter, here's hoping when this letter reaches you and reaches your hand, it will find you in God's care. I'm praying for you. You have to stop just existing and letting the devil fool you up. Son, at some time in your life, you must sit back and ask yourself, is it worth it sitting where you are? Is it worth it losing your family and not being able to take care of your children? Is it worth it? I had a praying mother, and I never would have made it out of the life that I was in if I didn't have that praying mother. Because I feel like there's somebody in here that needs to hear this message. I've been to thousands, not hundreds. I've been to thousands of funerals for homeboys. There's an article on my life right here. Uh-oh. There's an article on my life in the Wall Street Journal, and it says he has more T-shirts than friends. I always wear these dead man T-shirts. I always do this. When they talk about the disrespect of mothers, here's one that say, man kills mother in argument, shot to death by bystanders. Listen to this. In a bizarre double homicide, Thursday night, a man and a woman who was holding a baby was killed by bullets fired by her own son, who was shot to death in the chest by someone else. Officers had heard about the confusion and went to see. Now, what happened is my homeboy had just got out the pen, and he was arguing with somebody, and his mama seen him about to pull his gun out and shoot him, And she said, baby, you going back to the pen. Boom! And he shot his mom in the head. And he's standing there dazed because he done shot his mama. He's looking at his mama, and they opened up on him with an AK-47 and killed him. See, these are stories that they don't talk about in the rap songs. Here's one about this 15-year-old boy, Emmanuel Hicks. Police are looking for a 16-year-old boy in a shooting death of 34-year-old Michael Nettles. Now, this is the 16-year-old. Here's his mom. Now, what happened was we went to his mom and said, look, we know your son messed up, but the best thing to do is turn him in. She, oh, no, they ain't going to throw my baby away, kept him on the run. And look, they retaliated on him by killing his mama. And he said, man, Slim, that's all I had. See, sometimes there's no way out of the devil's tricks. Now, two of my best friends right here, and I've been carrying this around ever since they was been killed. Listen at this. It say, after more than a decade of dodging gunfire and homicide detectives, two brothers who police once called a two-man crime wave died in the span of 10 hours. That means they didn't die together. They killed one, and because they know the brother was notorious too, they caught him going to the store to get his mom some cigarettes and killed him too. So you could put your whole family in jeopardy. Now, for to wrap this up, I'm gonna tell you something. There's nothing that either one of you children in here could go out there and do that I haven't already done. I'm a career criminal, but now I work for one of the top law firms in the nation. I'm a paralegal. I'm an activist on the social scene. I've been there and I've done that. But remember my words to you at first. I didn't come to assassinate your character. Some got to go to know. And if you're one of those ones that have to go to know, welcome to hell. Thank you.
Come on, man. Y'all can do better than that. All right, brothers and sisters. That wraps up our Black Male Summit. That was a way to wrap it up, was it not? Amen. Man, let's give this brother a round of applause. He poured out his heart. And before we go, I just want to thank our presenters who came and just put it all on the line to make sure that you young people heard a positive, powerful, and impactful message. Let's give it up for Brother OG1. Come up here, Brother OG1. Pastor E.A. Decker, please come up here, Brother Pastor. My dear friend, my brother Silky Slim back there getting them some water. Come on, give it up, brothers. Let's give Brother Slim another round of applause before we close for prayer. So we've got snacks and water and beverages in the back. Please drink it and take it, okay? Take it. Right outside this room, we've got T-shirts. I think we got a few hoodies, but T-shirts just like this. And we have another T-shirt that on the front, it bears the name of Silky Slim's message. Is it worth it? And on the back, it says, stop the violence in H-Town. It's yours. It don't cost you nothing. So take one for a family member, take 2, 3, 4 of them, but we want you to wear it with pride. It's a T-shirt with a very positive message, and we want to be spreading positivity as much as possible. Oh, what the final card? Okay. On the back table and outside, you got the latest Final Call newspaper. Yeah, the latest the semi-latest Final Call newspaper. We talked about ignorance being the #1 gorilla, and that Final Call newspaper is a newspaper that will help you deal with that. You can kill that gorilla with that Final Call newspaper. So if we could ask Pastor Decker to come and lead us in prayer, and we'll be out of here. And this is always the most difficult part of the Black Male Summit because you safe in here. In here, you are covered by men who would give their lives to protect you. But we know what's waiting on you out there. So the Black Male Summit is like a tool shed. It's like a tool shed. You know what a tool shed is? It's a place you go to get the tools that you need to build what you're trying to build or fix what you're trying to fix. These men today spent the day just handing out tools. Every last one of you going to leave with a tool belt. Use the tools. that you were given today, and you'll be all right. Use the tools that you were given today, and you will be all right. Pastor Decker.
Hurricane Ida was a few months ago in Louisiana, and we got involved in resources to Louisiana. And all the families who came to Houston, we helped a few hundred families while they were living in Houston. And then I got a prayer request. They said for a family in Homer, Louisiana. I've never been to Homer in my life. A family of 11, a husband, wife, and their 9 kids. And that's you to pray for. And this crazy thing of faith popped up and said, if they want to move to Houston, I won't just pray for them. We'll take care of the whole family for a whole year and get them back on their feet. And this family got on the bus, came to Houston, sight unseen, and we've been doing things to help them. The father, watch this. Now, they lost everything, came here with nothing, and the church has been helping them, got them someone to live, got kids in school, the whole 9. But what inspired me, I want to share this. The father, he said, Pastor, I'm not going to let my family be separated on what I got to do. The brother now goes to work. He's only been in Houston 2 months. He did not, even though we're taking care of the family, he got one to find a job. Did not make an excuse. With no transportation, got to find a job and get to work every single day and text and say, when I get off, is there anything I can do to help you because you're helping us? His son here, come on. These are 2 of his sons. Even though we were giving them stuff, every time school gets out, they come and say, can we come to the church to help? Because their father, a black man, is raising them the right way. He went for the basketball team, brand new schools, they new to Houston. In 2 days on the court, won the starting point guard position. So I went to his first game this week, right? Just blew me away. His math teacher was in the audience. Starting point guard, everybody's cheering for his athletic giftedness. I asked his teacher, what kind of student is he? She's a pastor. I've never met a young man more respectful. He's a straight A student. He's going to basketball court, but what separates him is the level of respect. So I want to share that positive testimony. They lost everything. They could be walking around sad, mad, complaining, but their attitude is the right place. Because a black man said, I'm not going to let my family be separated or destroyed by what we went through. And whatever I got to do to make sure my family is good, I'm going to do it, Pastor. And that's an example of the power of a black man who makes his mind up that his God and his family comes first. So I want to share that because we hear a lot of bad stories. But I want to share a story about a black man from Homer, Louisiana that lost everything except his faith and his family's faith. Let us stand and pray, please. Let us stand. We still feel unusual with this COVID protocol. We really can't touch, but we usually huddle up. But I don't want to get Brother Derek sued. Now, we was in my church. I just say huddle up anyway. I don't want to leave and sue my brother for things you're suing me. But Father, we thank you on this day. We thank you, first of all, because today you created and you decided to wake us up on the right side of the dirt. Everything else, as Brother Derek will say, is negotiable. So, Father, we thank you today that you allowed us the gift of this day. You woke us up on purpose, with a purpose. And today we came to be inspired and encouraged by men who you set apart to use our voice and use our platform to spread your message. We thank you for the giftedness. We thank you for our brother Derek Muhammad, who continues to lead a movement so that men of color can find themselves and find their purpose. We thank you for OG1. We thank you for Silky. We thank you, Father, for everyone who stood and spoke. And we pray the words that have spoken will not fall void to the earth realm, but someone will pick up a word like a seed that has been sown, and a harvest of greatness shall spring up. Generational curses has been broken. Lives have been redirected. So we give you all the glory, and we pray today for every single mother. Every mother has given her all to only be disrespected. But we pray you will bless her in spite of. We pray, Father, every seed sower of encouragement will grow up and a harvest, a brand new harvest will spring up. So we bless this day. In your mighty name we pray and we touch and agree. The best is still yet to come because you woke us up on purpose with a purpose. So we bless your name. Amen.